Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our alternative coverage of the World Cup opening match between Qatar and Ecuador. I'm your alternative host, Nicholas Jones, and you're listening to the Commentary Hub. And with me, I am delighted to have John JB Stuttard and Paul James, and I've also we'll also be getting the thoughts of Russ Vernon throughout our coverage, particularly around half time. We're going to start. Well, we're going to start with Paul James. Paul, good afternoon to you. What are your thoughts on? What are your thoughts on Qatar being the first Arab-speaking country to host the World Cup, even though they have never qualified before?
Well, it's actually it's very exciting for them. They've got they're a fairly young country in terms of their independence, so they are in a pretty good position really to host this World Cup. They've regarding the ins and outs of it, which I'm not really going to get into, but it's their first appearance, as he said, at the World Cup since their independence in 1971. They came close to qualifying in 1990. They just missed out to the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia in the final qualifying round, and of course they've done fairly well in friendlies up until now. They beat Guatemala, Panama, and Albania. They have, of course, lost to Canada and had draws with Slovenia, Jamaica, and Chile. They might surprise one or two people. But I think that this is a big opportunity for Qatar to host this World Cup. I don't think it matters so much as what they do on the pitch, as it matters so how well this tournament goes. For the next time, perhaps an Arab country wants to host the World Cup, Qatar can set a really good example. It was a good opportunity for them.
Yeah, it's also a bit strange that we're hosting it around the time of the European winter. And the Southern Hemisphere summer rather than the other way around. How will this affect everybody?
Well, it's new, of course. It's not something that anybody's used to. You don't want holding this tournament in the summer in Qatar. I mean, there's already reports coming out that the England national team are struggling with the heat in training, and it's nothing like what it would be like as a Qatari summer. So if we're going to have it in Qatar, it has to be held in the winter. So there's not really much of an option there. I mean, if Australia ever hosts the tournament, we would hold it in the summer, but I guess in the Middle East, it would need to be held in the winter, really.
We're going to stay with Qatar at the moment. Managed by Felix Sanchez. He's got plenty of experience at Qatar. He's managed the country from youth level since 2013. But Qatar's former managers include those who've had World Cup experience under their belts, such as Philippe Troussier. He managed Japan in the late 90s and early 2000s, and also the late Bruno Metsu, who managed Senegal's shock 1-0 victory over France in the 2002 tournament. So what kind of influences will those previous managers brought to the table?
I expect they'll have brought some European influence into the way that Qatar play. I think ultimately the talent on the pitch, they are one of two teams in the tournament, them and Saudi Arabia, that their entire squad plays in their own national league. I mean, Qatar are 13 players all from the same club, so they're probably going to know each other very, very well and be used to playing with each other. But usually a European manager will try to bring some European influence into the games, especially when they've taken charge. I mean, when I've forgotten his name now. When he took over Australia, the Dutch manager, what was his name? Can you remember? I don't even remember. When he took over Australia, he did a good job. Brought in a European style of play. So I think they're probably trying to do the same.
Yes, I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure that. Yes, I'm sure they are. But despite all, despite all, but despite what was talked about in the build-up, which we won't go into much detail of. We of course are hoping that it will be a. We of course are hoping that it will be a World Cup to remember, despite what went on before. And to answer your question, it was Gus Hiddink who was the Dutch manager that managed Australia for the 2006 World Cup, their debut. They made the round of 16. We'll get the thoughts. From JB in just a moment. But one thing I will want to bring up is VAR. It caused a lot of controversy in the last World Cup when it debuted. Do you think there could be more of the same this time?
I'm hoping not. I think most places have actually got this organised right now. It went well in the Euros. It goes well in the German Bundesliga. It goes well in Major League Soccer from what I've seen. It just seems to be the Premier League where things just seem to fall apart. So I'm hoping that that there won't be too much controversy. It's not what we want. I'm hoping, to be honest with you, that it's mostly not needed. I think that way everybody will be happy. I'm hoping that the referee will get the right decision on the pitch. If it does go to VAR, I'm hoping it will only go to VAR for clear and obvious errors.
Yes, I hope so. Yes, I hope so too. And seeing as we're now going to go into the team, seeing as we're now going to go through the teams and we've actually got the further thoughts of Russ Vernon on the VAR situation. Good afternoon to you, Russ.
Good afternoon, Nicholas. Good afternoon, Paul. Good afternoon, JB. Good afternoon, everyone as well. With VAR, for me, I think with Howard Webb coming in from the MLS, like Paul said, we've got it sorted in the Major League Soccer as well as the German Bundesliga and the French League and also La Liga as well. With Howard Webb coming across from the MLS this December when his contract was at the end of November, he's coming across to become the head of the referees in the Premier League from December. I think he could change it and could cause help him move on and help it evolve and help it get better in the Premier League. I think what Howard Webb's done over there in the MLS, he'll fetch that across to England, and just in the MLS they just use it for clear and obvious errors, and I think that'll help the Premier League moving forward with the VAR situation once Howard Webb takes over as the main head of referees and VAR in December in the Premier League. So hopefully it'll start to change. Maybe not Boxing Day fixtures, probably January for the rest of the season, and then the entirety of next season. Maybe we'll see some more consistent refereeing decisions and VAR decisions as well moving forward in the Premier League.
Thank you very much, Russ. And we can now, thank you very much, Russ. Kick-off is in about 20 minutes' time, and we can now go through more details for each of the teams. So, and we can now bring in our main commentator, John JB Stuttard. JB, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, everybody. Thanks, Nick. And I'll bring you the two lineups. Just a word or two about before we do that on the legitimacy of hosting it. I've been against Qatar hosting it from 2010. There's still the issues of, I mean, we won't go into it too much, but I still stand very firm on the human rights issues and stuff. But let's hope the tournament actually supersedes what's been going on before, and we hope to have a great World Cup. It's a bit strange having it in the middle of winter, I will admit, but that's just the way it is, and that's how it's gone. So we've just got to settle down, suck it up and get on with the game. So let's take a check on Qatar first of all. They've only lost 1 of 5 in their friendlies, but they have had 5 suspicious penalties given against them. Let's hope that isn't a cue for controversy. Anyway, let's start with the side with Saeed Al-Jazib in goal, and then it's Miguez, Hassan, Ahmed, Isham, and Okurili across the back. I think they're going to play 5-3-2. So Atim Al-Haydos, the captain, who's now going to make his 170th appearance for Qatar. Also the top scorer also one of the top scorers in the team with 36 goals. Karim Boudaouf, and then it's Arif and Ali up front with something in something of excess of 68 goals between them. As for Ecuador, a few familiar names you may remember, you may know, but Enner Valencia, the captain, being one, formerly of West Ham and Everton. But let's go through their side with Aaron Galdes in goal, and then it's Felix Torres, Piero Nkan in Coque, Travis Esteban, and Angelo Piquedo, and then it's Ibarra, Plata, Mendes, Gaido, and Estrada, and Enner Valencia up front. He's also the top scorer in Ecuadorian football history with 35 goals from his 74 previous appearance. And what I will say is I won't run through the substitutes, Nicholas, because there's too many, because all the other squad members can be used as substitutes at any one time. The referee is also making his World Cup debut tonight. It's 46-year-old Italian Daniele Osato. He's going to be assisted by Ciro Carboni and Alex Gaetani. Esteban Kovacs is the fourth official, and Maserati, the experienced Italian referee, is our fourth official. And that's the news.
Thank you, JB. Staying with the teams for now. Qatar, the 2019 Asian Cup champions, they've also won the Arabian Gulf Cup 3 times. On paper, they appear to be the underdogs, but there have been opening match upsets in the past. Look at what Senegal did to France in Japan 20 years ago. Do you think there could be more of the same this time?
No, I mean this game, Nick. I'll be honest with you, Nick. This game on paper is a very tough one to call because the thing is, Ecuador, we know about their runs in the last 16 years back. Qatar is an unknown quantity, especially to me. But they, as you say, have won the Asian Cup, beating Japan in the final, incidentally. I don't know. If they're going to swing a surprise or two, they'll need a bit of luck along the way. We know about. We've seen surprises in the World Cup down the years. However legitimate or illegitimate they have been over the years. South Korea in 2002 being one example. Although you'd have to ask the fans of Italy, Spain, and Portugal how they feel about that. But I think, Qatar will give it a good go. I'll be honest with you, Nicholas. I don't think they'll get out the group. They'll give it a go, but I just don't think. You would expect really as deeper as the tournament goes into, all the leading lights, your Brazils, your Argentinas, your Englands, your Spanish, all them kind of teams to rise to the surface. I'd like to see an African team. I'd like to see Japan and South Korea get a bit far this time, but I just can't see it happening. But you never know. Stranger things have happened in football, and I don't like to make too many prophecies when I'm commentating, because I'm a bit like Murray Walker in a way, like he used to be in the Formula One. He'll prophesise something and then something completely different happens. Well, let's just hope. Well, I will try and prophesise one thing, because I don't have many 0-0 draws. But I will say this, the last time Paul James was alongside me in the box for the League Cup final 8 months ago, it finished 0-0 after 120 minutes. Let's hope that is not the same scoreline this afternoon.
you and your prophecies, JB. Ecuador, they're a team we know more of. They qualified third in the CONMEBOL qualifying stage, and they conceded only 19 goals, which was impressive. So they would seem to have more of a chance. And in terms of injuries, there's only one from each. Abdul Arak of Qatar and also Paul Rojas of Ecuador. So both sides should not be affected as much. And the kickoff is about less than 15 minutes away now. So you're listening to the Commentary Hub with Nicholas Jones, Ross Thurman, JB Stossard, and Paul James. We're also live on the Commentary Hub 2, Storm FM, JB Sports, and Twitch. We can now before we go into before we get into the main part of the game, we can now ask JB and Paul what they think the score is going to be. Starting with JB, what's the score going to be? And we'll also get the thoughts of Russ as well. I will actually start with Russ. What do you think the scoreline is going to be, and why?
I don't really know much about the Qatar side, and I don't think anybody on here really does either, Nicholas, to be quite honest with you. And for me, I can see Ecuador winning this quite comfortably. You know, quite a lot of their players. Estepinian plays for Brighton now. Caicedo plays for Brighton, and Valencia, former West Ham player, now at Fenerbahce, doing fairly well with Fenerbahce, is Valencia, and as JB mentioned, he's their top scorer in Ecuadorian football history. So for me, I think it's going to be a long night, afternoon, depending where they are in this. What people listening to this, or morning for Qatar. And I think Ecuador's going to win quite comfortably. I'm going to say 3-0 to Ecuador, with Valencia getting 2 of the goals. I'm not sure who will get the other one.
So an easy Ecuador win, according to Russ. Do you feel the same way, JB?
Well, I'll just go back to the last bit, really, when I said it. I hope it's not a 0-0 draw. I'm going to sit on the fence, really, on this one, because I'm the commentator and I don't want to jinx one team over the other. I'm out with everyone. I'm saying totally unbiased because I have to. But what I will say is, as long as both teams give a good account of themselves and put on a terrific show for everybody tonight, I think that's the more important thing. And we get a good start to this World Cup in terms of good football, in terms of both teams actually giving a good exhibition of good attacking football, which we all want to see every day when we watch a football match. And regardless of what the scoreline and who wins, as long as football is the main winner at the end of this first game, and it sets a good standard for the rest of the other teams from tomorrow onwards, England and Wales being just 2 of them, to actually stick to those principles and then probably raise the bar a little bit. But these 2 teams have got a good opportunity in front of the world's player to put on a good show for everybody tonight here in Doha. So a real opportunity, really.
And Paul, what do you think the scoreline is going to be?
Well, I'm just going to say 0-0. No, I'm just kidding. Not really, though. Ecuador have got 1 goal in the last 5 games, in the last 5 friendlies games. That we know. Yes, we don't know a lot about Qatar, but they have scored a number of. They've been fairly free scoring in their recent friendlies. I don't know. It's a difficult one because I don't know. I know so little about Qatar. I've seen Ecuador play in the Copa America, but I'm going to say that this is going to be. I'm just going to say 0-0. Then I'm not going to upset him.
Right, thank you, Paul. Just want to apologise for what I said earlier about Ecuador being 3rd in their qualifying group. It was actually they actually finished 4th. So thank you to Paul, and so thank you to Paul for correcting me on that one. I also checked again on my monitor just to make sure it was absolutely correct, and it was. Clearly predicting an Ecuador win, but I'm not supposed to say what my prediction is anyway. So we're just about 10 minutes left until the players start coming out onto the field. Can't see anyone coming out as of yet, but there's plenty of support for both Qatar and Ecuador at the Al Bayt Stadium in Doha, the Qatari capital. So they're jumping up and down, waving their scarves and flags as any fans would, and to see a multitude of colours and a mixture of fans of all nationalities. It's just something to see, and we've also had the opening ceremony, which started around sort of 45 or so minutes to it started around 45 or something minutes ago. Plenty of youth and experience for both Qatar and Venezuela, such as 21-year-old Moses Caicedo, the 21-year-old a regular at Brighton and Hove Albion in the Premier League, has shown great promise for the Seagulls in the Premier League, and has scored quite a lot of goals. So performances of someone surprising performances of someone a lot more older than him, even though he is only 21. Teams are still yet to come out now, and Pervis Estupinan, he started 17 qualifiers, more than any other Ecuador player. So he will have featured quite a lot during the CONMEBOL qualifying stage. So we're just about, we're actually coming up to 5 minutes until kickoff. The teams appear to be coming around at the foot of the tunnel, and the national flags and things and the flags of both Qatar and Ecuador are displayed on the pitch. Final speech from Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president. He and FIFA have worked tirelessly hard over the past couple of years or so to get this tournament ready, despite preparations being hampered by the COVID-19 pandemic. But he and the team have pulled through. So full credit to them, and after a 3-year period of qualifying, where nearly 2,500 goals were scored across 865 matches between nearly 200 nations, we're now all set for the first game of the 2022 World Cup between Qatar and Ecuador. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to our commentators, Paul James and, first of all, JB Stuttard.
Thank you very much, Nicholas Jones, and welcome to this World Cup, the 22nd and the first ever to be held on the Far East, but in the Middle East. And what a game it promises to be between two teams with very much not much in football pedigree, although Ecuador's got more history going for it than Qatar, although Qatar, as Nick said in the build-up, did win the Asian Cup 3 years ago. The team's now walking out. We'll bring you the two anthems in a second or two, but what an atmosphere, and it's been rather controversial. Nicholas was referring to Infantino, the president of FIFA, but his outburst yesterday was totally uncalled for, really, in some respects, to criticism from Western journalists about human rights and stuff and not like that. But we won't try not to dwell on that too much. But a good reception for the teams here as they walk out into this vast arena here. Must be at least 80,000, if that. The opening ceremony, not something I enjoy very much. You just want to get on with the football now. But it's really up to them, these two sides, to really set the precedents and the standard for the other 63 games after this one that lie ahead. We're going to pause for a moment or two here for the two national anthems. Well, there we are. Well, the Qatarians are obviously up for this one. There's Giovanni Infantino, the FIFA president. Of course, he's now in office for another 4 years, incidentally. And incidentally, this is actually this World Cup, this 22nd will be the last World Cup to include 32 participants, because FIFA will be upgrading the competition to 48 teams, we believe, from 2026 onwards. How that will work, I don't know. Right, we better check on the two teams then, shall we? Starting with, of course, Qatar, with Syed Al Shahib in goal for them. They're going to play a back three, we believe, with Mohammed Ahmed, Hassan, Ahmed, Misham, and Kurari across the back. And then it's Haytham, Al Haydos, and Baldev, with Arif and Ali up front. Something like 68 goals between them. Al Haydos skippers the side. Right, let's quickly go through the officials for you. The referee tonight, 46-year-old Daniel Osato, makes his World Cup debut of Italy. Ciro Carboni and Aris Garatini are the two assistants, and Maserati is the man in charge of the VAR team. There's a lot of assistants as well. Well, we're not going to bother going through all that, but Maserati's in charge of the men in the VAR room. So there you go. You can get a glimpse of the fourth official, incidentally, is Esteban Kovacs. And the two captains now will meet on the halfway, just below me on the near side. And there's a few mascots there getting in the way there. There's Enner Valencia and Howie Ados, who shake hands and will come out fighting for this first game. Let's look at the Ecuadorian side, with Galdines in goal for them. Back four, we believe, of Mr. Bernian, Incapi, Torres and Presedo. And then in the midfield, Irara, Salcedo, Mendes and Plata. And then up front, Estrada and Enner Valencia, formerly of Everton and West Ham respectively. In fact, Estabarian plays for Brighton. He's at left back, and of course Salcedo, who plays in midfield, he also plays for Brighton and Hove Albion. Felix Sanchez is the Qatarian manager, 47-year-old Spaniard, born in Barcelona. And his opposite number there, Gustavo Alfaro, 68 years old as well, Argentinian born. So we're all set to go then in the first group game. As Amon Ali, 41 goals in 92 previous appearances for Qatar. This is 93rd cap tonight. And I really do hope, from a tournament point of view, that this really sets the precedent and sets a good standard for all the other competing nations to go. There's Mosi Saido, one of the Brighton players in the side. He's actually making his first ever World Cup appearance this evening. And let's just hope that these two teams can put on a good show. I'll bring in Paul James in just a second or two as well, as soon as we get a break in play. Paul James is alongside me. We'll bring him in a few moments' time. But there's so much pomp and ceremonial stuff to do. You've got to just get through that. And away we go, Qatar in red. And already on the attack straight away. They're attacking the goal to my right, incidentally. And the ball headed on forward again. And touch back there to number 11, Estrada. Ball not forward again. So Qatar in those, it looks like a Nottingham Forest sort of Gabaldi red, if you like. And we'll just have to see how this plays out. First free kick of the game, is it, to Qatar? It is. Estabarian is the man there that's gone in with the challenge there on number 2, Pedro Muguez. And a free kick already, taken very much short. But let me bring in Paul James at this point. PJ, now you've predicted a 0-0 draw. If this turns out to be a 0-0 draw, you're in for it after we come off air, Sunshine. But really, from a joking aside, how do you think this game's going to go? Really, from a neutral's point of view, shall we say?
Well, I'd like to see goals. I think we'd all like to see goals, and I think it's an excellent opportunity for both teams to kind of put their foot down early on, because this is a game really that both teams need to win with Netherlands and Senegal being the other teams in the group. So very important that both teams get off to a good start.
Yes, and they play off tomorrow, of course, the Dutch, and of course we haven't really talked much about them really in our World Cup build-up. There's an Ecuadorian player gone tumbling there, and I think it's Salcedo has gone down. Pedro Miguez is there too on the scene. Let's just see what happened. It was them two again. They're having a little bit of a running battle there. Did Salcedo run into Perez, or was it Miguez, or was it just a case of Miguez obstructing the Ecuadorian?
Looked like a bit of an obstruction there, to be honest. I think it's important as well that the referee keeps it nice and calm and doesn't get too excited early on as well.
Yes, a word about the referee, incidentally, Orizato. He's a 46-year-old Italian. It's his first ever World Cup game, and I'm sure there were a few butterflies in his stomach. Now the Qatari wall, if you can call it a wall, is not the requisite 10 yards back, and I hope the referees try and referee it with a great deal of common sense. So many tournaments through the years, as the ball is played in there, the goalkeeper didn't get a good punch on that ball, and still a chance in the penalty area, and Ana Valencia has scored already. Well, Paul James Bushes has been spared because Ana Valencia, within 2 3/4 minutes, has given Ecuador a surprise, well, a shock early lead, really. And what a start, and the goalkeeper there, Algie, wasn't a very good punch, really, and they kept it alive. And Ana Valencia, the former West Ham man, has made it 1-0 to Ecuador.
Well, he came right through the middle, didn't he? He wasn't picked up by the defence, but you're correct. The goalkeeper did not get a good connection on that, and it left the forward Valencia with an easy header from 6 yards out. It's a good early start for Ecuador. I believe the goal is being checked by VAR now, though.
Well, we'll have to see, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Although we said there was nothing wrong with Liverpool's goal in the League Cup final back in February, Paul, and look what happened there.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see that. I mean, there's a couple of high boots, but they're not suspicious enough, in my opinion, to disallow the goal for any reason. And I think that one should count. I'll be very surprised if they don't. But
might be for a foul on the goalkeeper, JB.
Well, I didn't see any foul on the goalkeeper potentially, but he came for a ruck of bodies, and he didn't get, as we said, he didn't get good purchase on the punch. So I think the goal ought to stand, but you never know. And the goal is been given, so the goal is going to be awarded to Ecuador, and I think the correct decision. The Qatarian coach there, Felix Sanchez, turns away in disgust, but a good start for Alfaro's team. Although from his expression, you wouldn't really show it. I'm sure it's has it actually been given? I'm not sure now. It's still in conversation. Hang on. Have I been? Oh, he's given a free kick. He's given it the other way. The goal isn't not standing. Well, that has baffled me. That has the goal not stood? It hasn't stood.
Like
well,
yeah.
I'd like to see that. Honestly, Paul, I'd like to see that again. I mean, 4 years ago when they brought this system into the tournament, I got confused. I've just seen a replay there, and they freeze-framed it, and it looked as if he'd gone through 2 of his own players. Now, if that's been given for that, then that's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, this is it, isn't it, JB? I mean, the one thing I said to Nicholas at the beginning was I was hoping VAR wouldn't play a part, and here we are, me and my big mouth again. Inside 7 minutes, we've got VAR giving. I agree with you. I initially thought, well, maybe it could be for a possible foul on the goal. It didn't look much to me, and I think the goal should have stood. Personally, I think that's a pretty harsh decision, to be honest.
Yeah, and Maserati, who I always give him credit for as being one of the best referees in modern generations, I'm afraid he's got that one wrong, and that, from a commentator's point of view, that really winds me up. It really does wind one up when these things happen. That looked a perfectly legitimate goal, and yet again, FIFA and controversy not far away again. Here's Miguez now coming forward. Can Qatar now Well, they're out of jail, really, the Qatarians in that respect, because they should be a goal down, really. But there you go. That's just the way VAR is. It looked a perfectly good goal. I mean, the goalkeeper had come through 2 of his own men. That's the point, and it baffles me that Maserati, an experienced and good, high-quality official that he is, could give a decision like that. That is a disgraceful decision, I'm afraid. Anyway, let's see. As Chauceto plays the ball over to Estepan. The 2 Brighton players passing to each other at the moment. If I do mispronounce a few of these players' names, I do apologise. The first time I've ever covered these 2 teams in any sort of game, so I haven't really had too much time to familiarise myself with this too much. But we'll do our best here, Paul, James, and myself in the commentary box. We're live here on JB Sports at Storm FM, TC Hub itself, and TC Hub 2. We're also live on Twitch for the record. And if you want to check out our Twitter handle for all the news and views from the World Cup in between our live games, you can check out that commentary live one. And we will have our player of the match, of course, sponsored by Barry Swain's commentary services. So we'll still have our supplementary award, as we always do, for live TC Hub matches, whether they're in this competition or in domestic league football. As the ball is played forward towards Enner Valencia, who tries to nod the ball back inside the area. Ecuador attacking the goal to our left, incidentally, in those yellow shirts. It's almost like watching Brazil in a way, but they're not called Brazil, of course. They're called Ecuador, as you well know. And, well, they get a throw in line almost with the 18-yard box, so it still remains goalless. Well, when me and Paul were last together in the com box some 8 months ago for the League Cup final, we had controversy and a goalless draw in that one. Let's hope this isn't going to be another prophecy of doom. Let's hope that we can see a few goals in this game. But at the moment, the sign's looking good, certainly from an Ecuadorian point of view. Ball played into the penalty area, and now the ball comes to number 7, Purvis Estepanian. Gets the ball out there. Number 10 now on the ball is Ibarra. Ibarra now uses Estepan again. Estepan gets the ball back a 3rd time, right on the left-hand touchline. They're going field to the centre circle where number 20 has it. Mendes chips the ball forward, looking again towards Enner Valencia. The goalkeeper punches away, this time Al-Shaib, and does a better job this time. 9 minutes gone here on all TCF platforms. It's Qatar 0, Ecuador 0 in the World Cup Group A, of course. Netherlands kick off their campaign in the group tomorrow, sandwiched in between England against Iran, and then Wales, of course, taking on the US. And you can hear all 3 matches live on the TC Hub. The England one commentated by our host this afternoon, Nicholas Jones, and he's really looking forward to that. He's not tired of telling us how much he's looking forward to that one. Free kick against Qatar for a foul on Enner Valencia by Bassam, number 15, and hopefully this time they can. The signs in Paul in the opening 10 minutes or so, Ecuador do look the more threatening side.
Yeah, they do. They definitely got most of the possession and trying to press the game more. That didn't look a free kick to me, by the way. That it looked like he went down far too easily there, although there was contact made. Russ also advised us as well that the goal was chalked off for offside, although, like, I agree with him, I couldn't see where the offside was.
Well, it swings and roundabouts, really, but if Ecuador were to score for that free kick, which they haven't, it wasn't a very good free kick, really, by Estepan of Brighton. It wasn't the best free kick we've seen him put in. But if they are to score in the next sort of 10 minutes or so, then all that controversy will be erased, that's for sure. Anyway, a throw to Ecuador. Good challenge there by Hassan, number 3. 10 minutes gone. Qatar starting to hold their own a bit, and Hassan there with a really robust but fair challenge there on number 19, Plata, who will work on that right-hand channel in this first half. It's going to be a throw-in to Ecuador, almost on line of the Qatarian 18-yard area, headed forward again. It was towards Estrada, and it's nodded behind for a corner now to Ecuador. It came off Gahuki. Some of these names are so unpronounceable, some of them, it's unbelievable. I haven't had too much time to practice. This is how much it has been. But anyway, corner kick. 11 minutes gone here in the in the opening game here in Qatar, the World Cup 2022. Corner kick to be taken on this far side, the right-hand side. Casado right in on the goal line there with Bassam and the goalkeeper as well. The referee now looking for pushing and jostling. We don't want to see a fussy referee. Don't want to see the referee have too much of a fussy game. Number 19 is going to take it. That's Plata on the far side. He's going to take it left-footed from the right-hand side. And again, a bit of pushing and shoving going on. I wonder if we'll have to watch. We'll have to watch all these little mini battles inside the penalty area. Plata to take the free kick. And Casado right in there and hit Assam as well. It's going to be a little running battle. Anyway, here comes the corner, floated in towards the 6-yard area. It's headed away by Qatar and out for another throw to Ecuador. Midway inside the Qatarian half of the field. 12 minutes gone. Qatar 0, Ecuador 0 in the World Cup. Group A, live on a Sunday afternoon, opening match. And of course they had that opening ceremony with the Black Eyed Peas. Not exactly my, as far as my musical taste goes, not exactly my cup of tea, Paul. I'm more Rolling Stones and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Bachman Turner Overdrive sort of fella.
Yeah. Well, I know that they. I didn't see the opening ceremony myself, but yeah, I understand what you mean. It wasn't quite our taste in music, was it really?
No, and also the mascot. Didn't he look a little resemblance? I don't know if you saw it, but he looked a little resemblance of Casper the Friendly Ghost. You remember that movie of a few years back?
Oh, that was good. I used to like that.
Now then, they've just now this isn't interesting. His actual leg is offside. This is how the goal has been. We've just had a replay come through on our monitors here, folks, of the goal that's been why the goal was disallowed. It has actually turned out to be a very good decision, as it turns out. It's left me certainly red-faced from Maserati. His right leg was offside, but still, I mean, that's still a harsh decision, Paul. When you, I mean, even if they've come to the right decision there with VAR,
it's not clear and obvious. That's the thing.
It's not clear and obvious enough, is it? I mean, that's just ridiculous. If you're going to keep giving offsides for things like that and disallowing goals, you're going to take away the enjoyment of it all. Free kick has been given to Qatar, and it's and we've had 14 minutes gone. Your views on that, then?
Well, it's not clear and obvious, is it? They took an age to come to the decision. It's not clear and obvious, so then you continue playing the game. That, as I understand, was why VAR was brought in, clear and obvious. It wasn't that.
Yes, far from it, and I have to agree with my esteemed colleague. But anyway, here come. There's a chance now inside the penalty area. Surely this must be the first goal. That's box to be a penalty, and then off the post. The referee's pointed to the spot, and Ecuador do have their chance now from the penalty spot. A yellow card to the goalkeeper, Al-Sheb, who brought down the attacker there. I think it was Ana Valencia who went forward. He was brought down, then he played on, the ball hit the post, and a yellow card has been shown. I think they were covering defenders, but Ecuador do have a penalty, Paul, and I think it might be the correct decision, both the awarding of the penalty and the yellow card for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I believe it was a penalty. He didn't make a huge amount of contact with him, but the fact is he made it with his leg. So when you're running, any kind of contact on the leg can make you stumble and lose your balance. I have no problem with that decision. That for me is a penalty.
Yes, and the man who was fouled, he's got to take it. Valencia, who has 35 international goals from 74 previous appearances, winning his 75th cap here tonight. Has a chance to, and he's also the highest Ecuadorian goal scorer in his long illustrious history. Could now make it goal number 36, the captain, if he can beat Al-Shayib from 12 yards. 15 and a half minutes gone then in this Group A game here in Qatar. All the Qatarian supporters in their sheikhs outfits hold their head, hoping that the goalkeeper can come up with a miracle save as Valencia steps up, right-footed. Oh, easy as you like, cool as you like, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. The ball goes into the right-hand corner, and Ana Valencia, who had a goal chalked out earlier on for a very dubious offside decision, finally does get his goal, and maybe, just maybe, for once, justice has been done. Qatar 0, Ecuador 1, 16 minutes gone. And Enner Valencia scores his 36th international goal, Paul.
Yeah, it was a lovely penalty, wasn't it? Just nice and cool, right into the corner. Difficult even if the goalkeeper goes the right way to get to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good penalty. He gave the goalkeeper the eyes, and he showed a little bit there to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper guessed wrong, obviously, sent him the wrong way, but the clues were there that he was going to go to the goalkeeper's left-hand side, and the goalkeeper chose the wrong option. And but Valencia made it obvious he was going to the keeper's left. But there you go. This is where goalkeepers really do have to do their own work. But it was a definite penalty. Yellow card for the goalkeeper. The reason why he wasn't sent off really was because they were covering players around him. But Ecuador in front, 17 minutes gone, and I think on balance of play, it's a deserved lead. And this is where now we've got to see the real Qatar now stand up and take notice as they come forward again. And they get, what did they get here now? Is it given a corner? There was a run there by Miguez. He got a bit lucky on a couple of occasions, but then I think his luck ran out. Goal kick has been given. But now, what we will, as we just see, Al-Sheeb there, it's just been confirmed it's a yellow card for him. Now, this is where now the real Qatar, Paul, has to stand up. In fact, a free kick's been given for offside, we believe. But this is where now the real Qatar has to stand up and be counted now, because they're behind in the game. They really do now need to come out and attack and really give a good go of themselves, because at the moment, in the first 18 minutes of this game, they haven't really done themselves any justice at all.
No, you're absolutely right, JB. They've been a bit deer in the headlights type. It's been they're going to have to. It's a real test of their character now. They're going to have to stand up and start being counted, because at the moment Ecuador are looking like the host team. It's not. Qatar appear to be a bit overwhelmed at the moment. They need to just calm the game down a little bit, slow it down, and start to create their own plays.
Absolutely, and of course the Ecuadorians haven't been squeaky clean really when they qualified for the tournament. There was a few bits of controversy in that, so much so that Peru, who finished just outside the actual qualifying section, tried to launch an appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, but there was so Ecuador's participation was in doubt up until about a week ago, but then the Court of Arbitration threw out Peru's case, and which has allowed Ecuador. So that's 4 goals in 4 games. As they're going for number 2, is it potentially? The ball is knocked behind. But it's a good run in behind there by Purvis Estepanian. He got in behind the Brighton man, and then the ball knocked back into the 6-yard area. And I think it was Estrada who got the header in. There's a little collision inside the area between the goalkeeper and one of the Ecuadorian attackers. I think it was offside anyway, Estepanian anyway, as the ball was played. So I don't think the goal would have counted. But again, as you were saying, Paul, Qatar like rabbits in headlights here at the moment. And they were very lucky not to go 2-0 down at this point.
Yeah, at the moment Ecuador just seem to want it more. I think right now they're giving the ball away a lot of Qatar at the moment as well, turning the ball over. They look sloppy in midfield. There's work to be done on that for that team to get back into this game. At the moment Ecuador are playing very fluent football, looking like a true South American side.
A true South American side indeed. It could be like watching Brazil with those yellow shirts on, but it's not, I'm afraid to say. But hopefully we'll get that. Hopefully I'll get my chance to watch the Brazilians later on in the tournament. It's always a treat when the World Cup comes around. It's a shame it's every 4 years, so you have to wait. But it's been 4.5 years, and again, Qatar again not trying to play out from the back, which is a dangerous play. And it was almost down at Blackburn Rovers last week in that Lancashire derby when they played out from the back and cost them a crucial second goal scored by Anas Sonori. In fact, he's been called up to the Moroccan squad and has been integrated into the team. It was almost Blackburn Rovers Mark II there, Paul, wasn't it?
Can you remind me, JB, what was the score in that game?
I believe it was 3-0.
All right, I'll stop.
No, I'm a Burnley fan, but no, we're still crowing about it in a week on. Yesterday I actually watched the Burnley match again. It was it would make great viewing. Now, what's the yellow card been given for here? And I wonder if is he giving it? It's one of the Qatarians again. It was number 19 going in there. He went in very hard actually. Ali, the one has been booked. So that's 2 Qatarians being booked. And I have to say, as bad as they've been in with the football side of things, their discipline has been quite of an ill-disciplined variety. It also, in fact, their challenge, their style of tackling reminds me of what Cameroon did back in 1990 to the Argentines.
Yeah, they're a bit reckless, aren't they? We know the rules for suspensions in this tournament. Alamir Ali, I believe, is the leading scorer for Qatar as well. They can't afford to be without him. He's got 42 goals in 85 games.
Yeah, that's it. That's true. 42 in 85. He's their top scorer in the squad. And of course, Al-Haydos, the captain, has got 36 goals. But it's still Ecuador on the attack again. And they're looking, every time they pour forward, the Ecuadorians, they do look like scoring. When coming up towards the halfway mark of the first half here in this opening game of the Qatar World Cup. As I was saying at the top of the game, really, this will be the last World Cup with 32 participants. We're just looking at the possession stats: 30% Qatar, 58% Ecuador. Not a great surprise, really, in terms of possession, really. But there you go. It's very much Ecuador on top. They're leading on the scoreboard as well. Could have been more, really, if truth be told. They've had the ball in the back of the net twice. One has been allowed, one hasn't. And they look very confident and very comfortable on the ball. And they've really silenced the locals here in Doha. There's no question about that. The same, of course, this is actually the first ever World Cup that's been held in a southern or in a northern hemisphere winter. All the rest, the previous 21 World Cups before that have been held in northern hemisphere summers. So this is sort of a Christmas style of World Cup. So, but it has caused a lot of frustration amongst leagues around the world and stuff. But I guess you just have to get used to that fact. We may not ever see a World Cup like this ever again. They will go back to summer. But well, this will be the last World Cup, as I say, with 32 teams. They're going up to 48. Free kick to Qatar. What's your view on FIFA for the next World Cup now, going up to 48 teams from the existing system that relies 32? Is it to give more countries a chance to qualify, or is it just a marketing point out from FIFA to extend the tournament by another week or so? Whatever, well, it's going to be a complicated whole system, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's going to be very strange. I don't know how they're going to do it. I know they were thinking of doing groups of 3. Well, of course, we all know what the problem will be with that. But I think it is probably to give more teams the opportunity to qualify. But having said that, it also makes it easier for the bigger countries to qualify as well, doesn't it? I mean, it'll probably be the top 2 that qualify automatically now in Europe, and a third through a playoff system. So, you know, Italy are obviously not going to miss out on the next tournament.
Yeah, but then there's another problem I've looked at there, and you're missing nothing, by the way, folks. But another problem I've just looked at, having studied hard at the system, it means players are just going to be treated like robots in that tournament. They'll have come off a full season in Europe, so they'll have played something like 50 or 60 odd games if you're a Champions League side and you get all the way to the final, plus cup finals and stuff, cup runs and stuff, and then you're expected to play another 10, 12 games. I mean, it's just not possible. I mean, players now have to be wrapped up in cotton wool these days. That's another flaw in the system, but FIFA will still press through with it because they're the world governing body and they can do what they like, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is going to be a problem in terms of player endurance and player fitness and the potential for injuries. It seems we haven't learnt a great deal from what happened with Christian Eriksen in the Euros last year. If you're going to allow this to go on, you've got to be fair in your dealings. Personally, I don't like the Champions League format. We talk a lot Cup games.
They're looking to extend that as well, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I mean, this is not helping. The European Cup, as it once was, used to be a round of 2 legs, first round, second round, quarterfinals, and so forth. Why can't we go back to that? You know, why do we have to keep increasing this?
unfortunately, it's about money, and and another thing that annoys me with international football these days, the Nations League, it's another cash cow for UEFA, and of course FIFA will benefit out of that as well. So, I mean, that's just the way football is. I mean, we'd like to go back to the old days. It's just, unfortunately, money talks in this game of football. It's a business, it's not a sport anymore, which is sad, really, from that point of view. That's why you never hear Chris Whiteman really do many commentaries these days like he used to, because he's falling in love. He's falling out of love with the sort of the modern game. But anyway, we're here. Let's get back to this game. You've not missed anything, by the way. We've had 26 and a three-quarter minutes here on all the TCR platforms. Good evening to everybody who's watching or listening to us on all the major platforms, on JB Sports, on TCR, TCR2, and Storm FM, Mike Harneman's channel as well. And of course, we're live on Twitch, so a big shout out to all our Twitch followers as well. And if you are a big fan of Twitter, well, depends on how long Elon Musk leaves it before potentially closing it down. There's been rumours about that the death knell's going on Twitter, thanks to a certain Elon Musk. But for as long as Twitter is still around, you can check out our Twitter handle for all the latest news, views, and gossip at Commentary Live 1. Okay, Commentary Live 1 is our Twitter handle. Anyway, let's go back to the game, and it's Ecuador in possession in their own half. And here's number 20, Mendes on the ball. Ball comes back, and here's number 7 here, Pervis Esteban. He's having a lot to say for himself in this opening 28 minutes or so that have almost elapsed here. Mendes in possession once again. It's pretty much easy now. Qatar have just got to pressure more, because they're allowing the Ecuadorians to have all the play, and that's not a bad ball really if Valencia could get on the end of that, but he couldn't. But Qatar again not very good in clearing, and in the end the shot came in right-footed and scooted over the top of the crossbar. But the Qatarian supporters are not letting up too much. They're still trying to create a good atmosphere around the stadium, despite their team not exactly being at their astute best at the moment. But Qatar really need to come out and start playing a bit of football. Well, they'll get a free kick, and a yellow card has been brandished there. That's the third card. Casado of Brighton has been booked, and a yellow card there. Let's have a look at the replay. He didn't get any of the ball. Certainly got a bit of the man. Fair decision, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. It was an unnecessary tackle as well, to be honest. He didn't need to do that, but it's down to the discipline, isn't it? But fair decision in my mind. He definitely caught him. Is moving away from the player. Could be considered a professional foul, so I got no problem with that decision.
Yeah, well, we'll be obviously every World Cup. There's always a focus on the referees to see how much they'll clamp down on tackling in this tournament. In any World Cup tournament, obviously the FIFA directive is to always be tough. I hope FIFA don't treat the referees like robots, really, in a lot of respects. I mean, I've been a big critic of Premier League referees in the past. We've got 2 representatives refereeing at the World Cup this year, as opposed to Don 4 years ago. Michael Oliver of County Durham and Anthony Taylor of Wythenshawe, Greater Manchester. They're both there as referees this time round. So, of course, the last Englishman, in fact, 2 Englishmen have refereed the World Cup finals in previous years. Jack Taylor from Wolverhampton in 1974, and then Howard Webb in 2010, when he took charge of a very, very much an ill-disciplined Netherlands side, beaten by the Spanish flair after extra time. So, well, if England don't reach the final, and Michael Oliver or Anthony Taylor have good World Cups, who knows, we could have a third Englishman refereeing. Well, let's hope the England players get to the final rather than the referees. Let's hope that's the case. Half an hour gone then. Qatar 0, Ecuador 1. I think it's going well there for Gustavo Alfaro's men at the moment here in Doha. Another foul not given, and away goes Sassedo now, charging towards the penalty area. The Qatarian penalty area. Still has it on the right-hand side. He's drifted out to the right-hand side. He's got support here on the right-hand flank. Good cross into the area. Good header down, and it's another one for Valencia. Valencia makes it 2 from no more than 8 yards out. And Qatar have got it all to do if they're going to get anything out of this first Group A game, because Ecuador are well in charge here. A terrific cross from the right-hand side, and Enner Valencia has scores his 37th international goal now, and that's his second in the tournament. He's going ahead in the Golden Boot Stakes, that is for sure, and Ecuador are taking complete control of the opening match in Group A of this 22nd World Cup. Qatar 0, Ecuador 2, 31 and a quarter minutes played.
Well, JB, I'll tell you, let's first of all just touch on the header. It was a beautiful header. It was a good 9-10 yards out when he headed that ball down and in. But I have to say this, again, the defending by Qatar, it's non-existent. There's two players, number two there for Qatar, Pedro Mengue. He's there. Nobody's getting close enough to Valencia, and it's a free header, and you can see afterwards them debating it with the captain. It's just poor defending all round. But I have to say, Ecuador looking pretty good so far.
Absolutely, and sending a good message out to the rest of the world. These two teams were out here to put on a show. So far, the Qatarians have done nothing, as Paul James has quite rightly said. And Ecuador, to be fair, to be fair, they're beaten once in front of them. Of course, they'll have tougher tests to come. Of course, the Dutch and Wout Weghorst round the corner as well. That's going to be a battle and a half as well. But there will be some tougher tests, and even if they do qualify from the group, you're still your big teams rising to the surface. So Ecuador will have tougher tests than this one tonight. But at the moment, they are almost playing like Brazil. But here comes Qatar with a speculative shot from the left, I can't pronounce it. Hassan, number 3, Hassan with the shot. That goes well wide. It goes well over the top. But just seeing there, as Paul James rightly says, static defending, ball watching every single one of those men in sort of dark red. It's just preposterous defending, really. It's feeble defending, really. And Qatar really do look like the whipping boys in this Group A, I have to be honest with you. And the togetherness there in the Ecuadorians is there for all to see. So plenty for Felix Sanchez, the Qatarian manager, to do. And then once again, another Qatarian player down. And remember, Miguez, I think Miguez could be in some sort of trouble. The referee going over to him. I don't think it's a card there. He came in very hard on the Stranter, I must say, Paul.
I'm amazed that was a tough challenge.
I'm amazed he hasn't picked up a yellow for that, actually.
Well, see, this is a consistency, isn't it, when they're handing out the cards? Sometimes they're given for things that they should be given for. Other times they're not. This was one of them cases where I agree with you. Perhaps a yellow card should have been given there for that challenge.
Well, nevertheless, it's a free kick to Ecuador, who are 2 goals clear and have been, by a lot of Coronation Streets, the better side, to be perfectly honest. Well, let's see if they can get a third one, but that will really put Felix Sanchez under a lot of pressure. His half-time team talk is difficult enough at 2-0. Imagine what it'd be like if we go 3-0 down before the break. Free kick comes into the penalty area. Again, Qatar not faring very well at all. And it broke for a second or two to Plata, who just couldn't control the ball. And in the end, Qatar did just about enough to get it away. But the ball now back with Galindez, who's practically been a virtual spectator in the 35 minutes or so that we've been playing. He's had hardly anything to do. But when you're a goalkeeper in the World Cup, you expect to have something to do at some point. Today it is in the Ecuadorian goal has had nothing at all. Don't forget, tomorrow at around kick-off 1 o'clock, Nicholas Jones is in the box for England's first match of the World Cup. He'll be bringing you live commentary from the TCL commentary. The man who brought you our coverage, our brilliant coverage of the Lionesses' victory in Euro in the recent European Championships just gone in England for the women. Well, he's going to try see if he can work the same magic anyway for the men as he commentates on England against Iran. And then there's going to be Wales as well in action against the US. That's at 7 o'clock tomorrow. We'll have both those matches, and we'll have the Netherlands game as well. So it's 3 matches to come in the World Cup for you tomorrow. But here it's Qatar 0, Ecuador 2 with me, JB, John Stuttard and Paul James, and another yellow card for one of the Qatarian players. Karim, this time the offender, number 12, Karim Boudaf, to give him his full name, making his 116th cap. And once again, for a player who's got nearly 116 caps. That was a schoolboy type challenge, and it was an awful challenge on Enner Valencia, Paul. And he's still down, by the way.
Yeah, right into the back of him. Right into the back of his leg. That must have been incredibly painful. And again, it's sloppy, it's careless, it's undisciplined.
And he's been booked for it.
You should be. You should be. Absolutely, you should be. And for such an experienced player, it's a poor do. It's just not good enough, really.
Poor do it is, and yeah, Qatar just. I mean, some of these players though have got well over 100 caps between them, Paul. And from what I've seen and what you've seen, they've played as if they've never played together most of their lives. I mean, they've only lost one in their last 5, albeit some of the friendlies they had some generous decisions. I believe they had 5 generous penalties, I think, in some of the warm-up games. But referees will not stand for any nonsense. I mean, they don't know how to tackle, they don't know how to pass. And for a team that's got such vast experience, okay, they've won the Asian Cup and all that sort of thing, but it's a totally different league compared to the World Cup finals, surely. And they're being found out at the moment. We've seen 37 minutes of them, and my conclusion at this point, so far, they are being found out for the minnows and the whipping boys they were destined to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest with you, 13 of this squad play for the same club, Al Sadd. They all play in their Qatari domestic league, so I suspect they should know each other fairly well.
In terms of team spirit, but there's a look on Felix Sanchez's face that says a million words, and I don't think it's a face of happiness right now. It's a face of thunder, because his team are badly letting him down at the moment, and that must be hard for the coach, because he's gone in there with it. Let's face it, they are the hosts, they are expected by the hierarchy, the president and everything else to try and do a good job and not embarrass the nation. But at the moment, for 38 minutes, I'm afraid they just haven't been good enough. They haven't been at the races, and to be quite honest, they haven't played as a team. And it's been so easy for Ecuador, not taking away from their brilliant performance themselves. Of course, you've got to beat what's in front of them, but Ecuador will get tougher games as the tournament goes on, and then we'll see the real Ecuador stand up. But it's been very much. But if Qatar now could, for the next 8 minutes plus injury time, could actually try some of the effort and try and get themselves back into this game, then we might look on them a little bit more favourably than what we had done. But it's been so easy for Ecuador at the moment, and here they go again. They're up again with Valencia. He's on a hat-trick, of course. I'll tell you what, he's making a statement, Enner Valencia, for the Golden Boot already. 2 goals to his name, and of course other players will start firing later on in the tournament, obviously. But Enner Valencia really has shown what he's all about, really. This 39 minutes has been played, and it's showing what a good player he was when he was at West Ham and Everton, Paul.
Yeah, he's been impressive early on. 2 goals, it's certainly a good start for him. It'll be a huge confidence builder going into their next game. He's been impressive, and he's really been a threat in the final third.
He certainly has, and he's, as I say, he's on a hat-trick, of course. But Qatar in possession now. They really need to build up ahead of steam here and just be patient and try and play as a side now. Even if no, they've got a corner out of it. No, they haven't. It's a goal kick, and well, number 14, they're trying to make a little bit of inroads. Ahmed, but he can't. Obviously, he wasn't going to get anywhere near. But well, this would be like a proper FA Cup sort of third round game. This one, Ecuador, the overwhelming favourites, of course. Qatar, the underdogs, the sort of Lincoln City or Sutton United, of course, equivalent really. But at the moment, it's not going to an FA Cup style tradition. Of course, I was commentating in the FA Cup a couple of weeks ago. That terrific game between Derby County and Torquay at Playmore, which ended 2-2. And of course, Derby did win the replay very comfortably, as it turned out in the end. But well, that was a terrific game to commentate on. Now then, real opportunity now for Qatar to throw something there through Ali, but he lost possession again at the crucial minute. Mind you, didn't have much support now. Aledos, the captain, they need to look to him a little bit more. Ball played forward there by number 6 at him, but it's a poor ball. He's overhit that badly. But Qatar, slowly away, Paul, just slowly away, just starting to put 1 or 2 passes together.
Yeah, they're starting to try to just get themselves back into this game now. I think since the second goal, it kind of woke them up a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what coach half-time. I'm not sure exactly what Felix Sanchez is going to say to his players at half-time. But he needs a miracle at the moment. He needs an absolute miracle to get his team back into this game. And of course, for them, they at this point, if they lose this game, they're going to have to get something out of the Netherlands if they want to qualify from the group, and I don't see that happening.
No, only the top 2 qualify, incidentally, from each group. No best third place team like you see in the Euros. Purely and simply the fact that the last European Championships had 24 teams as opposed to the 32 that's in this tournament. So it's only the top 2 qualifiers. So the stakes are pretty damn high even at this early stage. But Qatar started to put 1 or 2 things together and started to stretch Ecuador a little, and they've got a throw. Good worrying forward by number 14 there, Ahmed. There's another. Oh, that could be a bad blow player for Ecuador, because Eder Valencia, in making a challenge, has hurt his knee. There was an accidental collision between him and Budaf, and this could be a real problem if he can't continue, Paul. Eder Valencia, he doesn't look too comfortable.
No, he doesn't, and this is not what he or Ecuador would have wanted. I think at this point it looked like a nasty collision. So I would say hopefully it's just a dead leg, but we'll see.
Well, at least the Qatarian supporters are not silent. They're trying to whip up some atmosphere here. Let's be fair, that's the only good thing that Qatar have done all night, is trying to whip up an atmosphere. The team out on the field haven't done that much. Trailing 2-0, of course, to Ecuador. We're now into the final 6 minutes, well, into the final 4 minutes, plus any injury time. But there might be a fair chunk, of course, for the disallowed goal with VAR, and then this injury to Anniversary. The stretcher is coming on, and it doesn't look very good. Let's just hope it's a precautionary measure, because Eder Valencia has started this tournament off in 5 penalties. I am pleased to say he's on his feet. So for a moment he did look like a stretcher job. It might not be. Let's just see what they do with that. See what they put on that magic sponge as we now approach the stage where they'll have a half-time cup of tea and a couple of oranges as Eder Valencia is limping off the field. I'm not sure if there's any activity down below us in the bench, but one thing is for certain, Eder Valencia is feeling the strain. But he scored 2 goals and it's looked really, really good.
It's going to be painful, that, JB, clashing like that. That looks very, very uncomfortable.
Yep, absolutely. So, if you heard me coughing, I do apologise. Anyway, we're back on the way now. And it's number 12 here on the ball, Badif. Gets the ball in there once more. Number 11 has it, Arif. And they've got to break here. Qatar having a little bit of play on the ball. Al Haydos flips the ball back again. They're having a good little run of possession, but they need to do something with it. They're running out of time, obviously. We're in the last minute of normal time here. Here's Miguez trying to play a 1-2 down the right-hand channel. But the ball is knocked away, and Ecuador have possession. Eder Valencia is receiving treatment, and in fact he's back with us now on the field, and it looks as if he's walking a little freer, but not fully freer. I think what Gustavo Avaro has just said to him, just give it until half time, see how you feel. We'll try and patch you up at half time, or try and early at half time, and if you're not ready to start the second half, we'll substitute you. I think that's the impression that I get. We're into injury time. We don't know how long it's going to be, and it's going to be 5 added minutes, and that's not a great surprise, Paul, considering that we had about 3 or 4 of those minutes for that VAR decision, which wasn't clear and obvious as it turned out. Break it to Qatar.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's the 5 minutes is probably justified also with Valencia being down as well. Going back to what you said about Valencia, I agree with you. Perhaps it's time to, see if he runs it off at half time. If there's any sort of doubt, they should consider taking him off. They're very much in control of this game.
Yeah, and Qatar don't particularly look a great threat, although they have had a little bit of possession in the last sort of 3 or 4 minutes here. But at the moment, it's going a little bit sideways rather than forwards at the moment, and that's down to the good tactics of the Ecuadorian manager, the Argentinian Gustavo Alfaro, who is tactically got it spot on at the moment. We played a minute of the 5, 4 to go. And here comes Harry trying to get something moving here now. Number 15 has it. Isham. Isham gets the ball out. And now looks for Hassan. And Harif now. Harif gets it forward. Still 2-0 to Ecuador. Enner Valencia with both. One from a penalty and the other a terrific header on the half-hour mark, giving Ecuador a very comfortable and commanding 2-goal buffer. As we now go into the dying embers of what's been a very, very enjoyable first half from an Ecuadorian point of view, but we've been really enjoyed some of the football that Ecuador has really played. Unfortunately, Qatar, you can't really say the same about them. They, in a nutshell, have been poor, and for a team that has so many caps between them, about 600 odd caps between them, it has been very, very disappointing to watch. But and they haven't done themselves justice in their first ever World Cup finals game. And we can talk about how they bought the World Cup or how they got the World Cup from Sepp Blatter all those years ago, and that still will be debated until the cows come home. But the fact is, Qatar have been shown up to be a very poor side in this 45 minutes. But they've got possession here on the far side. They just can't get anything going at the moment. And if you want my opinion on who should have had the tournament, it should have been Australia. Just over the United States. They held it in '94, so they held it in a lot of terms very recently. But 28 years since they held it. So, you know, considering other countries haven't held it before, would have been nice for the Aussies to have had it, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, Qatar have really not done themselves justice on the biggest start of their footballing lives so far. But you never know, they might surprise a few people in the second half. I hope so anyway, for their sake as much as anyone else's. Well, let's check on Paul. Let's go to you, Paul, now for one final time before half time. Your impressions of what's been a very domineering first half from the Ecuadorians.
Domineering is right. They've been very much in control in this game. I hate to sound disrespectful, and I don't mean to, but it really has been almost like men versus boys.
Yes.
Ecuador's dominated the game from beginning to end, to be honest. And at the moment, they're not looking like a threat. I haven't really seen any real chance from them yet.
Yeah, to the extent that Gadidez, the Ecuadorian goal, has not even had a shot to save from memory, and that is a bit of disappointment from a neutral point of view, because we all expected. We all expected Ecuador to play football, but we also expected Qatar to really contribute something towards this as well. And frankly, it's been disappointing. We've got a minute to go now of the 5. As soon as the half-time whistle goes, we'll be heading back to the studio and to Nicholas Jones in our World Cup studio here. But at the moment, it's been a very disappointing first half, and I'm sure Nicholas and Russ Burden, who's our special guest this afternoon, the brains behind, or part of the brains behind this brilliant channel that we've got here at the TCM, will chew the fat on the first half. I'll get myself a nice cup of tea. I brought me Darjeeling along to Qatar for the tournament. Yeah, I can't be without my English tea. I'm a Lancastrian, but I drink Yorkshire tea.
I drink Yorkshire tea as well. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, well, I got converted by family, so I used to be a PG drinker, but I got converted by close family and friends, so they begged me to drink Yorkshire tea, and I've not stopped drinking it ever since. Anyway, chance in for Qatar inside the 6-yard area, and it was a chance in there for Almeres Ali, 42 goals behind him in 85 internationals. That was the glaringest of chances, and it would have put Qatar back in business. He just had to hit the target ball, and he just couldn't.
It speaks for their entire first half, doesn't it? That's it right there, their entire first half. Yes,
he's misheaded it as well, essentially. He's trying to nod it goals, it's come off the end of his nose and it's gone well wide, and that was the last act, incidentally, of the first half. Well, Ecuador in complete control, apart from that one chance, of course, at the end. Qatar have been frankly quite disappointed, really. They haven't even tested Galdinez at all. Valencia with a penalty on 16 minutes and 31 minutes. He also had the ball in the back of the net a third time before that, but it was disallowed with a right leg being offside in the build-up. But having said all that, Valencia still looks in a little bit of discomfort as he makes his way off the field. But but from every Ecuadorian fan's point of view, they'll be hoping he'll be back on for the second half. That is for sure. But a hard-time situation here in Doha as me and Paul break off for 15 minutes, as we hand back to Russ and to Nicholas in the studio. It's Qatar 0, Ecuador 2. We'll be back in 15 minutes, but now it's back to the studio and to Nicholas Jones and Russ Vernon.
Thank you very much, JB and Paul. So very much a one-sided match as the majority of us predicted, Russ.
That is correct, Nicholas. It's been a fantastic first half. I still can't work out why the first score, which was ruled out by VAR, was offside, because I've been looking at some pictures I've seen, Nicholas, on the internet while the game was being played on that first goal, and there was another Qatar defender behind the goalkeeper, so I can't work out how it was offside, but I think Ecuador deserved that lead, and like JB said, Ecuador fans around the world will be hoping that Enner Valencia's injury is not as bad as first fear and he can continue and hopefully help his team get some more goals in the tournament.
And Almoez Ali, who was booked earlier, he came excruciatingly close to levelling it for Qatar. Did you actually think he was going to do it?
It came very close, Nick, so I didn't think he was actually going to do it, because I think...
reduce the deficit.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to do it, Nicholas, because I think when you look to the Ecuador defence do really, really well, and the goalkeeper is a lot stronger than the Qatari goalkeeper, and that's no disrespect to the Qatari goalkeeper or defenders, it's just that Ecuador defenders seem to know a little bit more what they're doing. The Qatari defenders, for me, Nicholas, feel like they've just picked 4 players off of the defence, 5 players off of the street, 60 feet from the goalkeeper, and said, "You come and play for us today." They look all disjointed, and it looks like they've never played a game together before. Whereas the Ecuadorian side, they look a bit more solid and know how to play again with each other, and they seem to know a bit more cohesion about them compared to Qatar. And I don't mean to sound disrespectful there to Qatar. It's just my opinion on what I've seen in that first half.
Yeah, absolutely. So what will Felix? So what do you think Felix Sanchez will be saying to the team during halftime? Because, like JB said in commentary, he had a face like thunder. We appear to have.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did, Nicholas. Sorry about that, mate. I called the wrong button on my headset as I was coming to speak to you, my friend. So, as I was saying, yeah, he did have a first line thunder. I think he'll be giving the Sir Alex Ferguson air dry treatment for those who can remember Sir Alex Ferguson giving the air dry treatment out to his players when he was in charge of Manchester United. I think it'll be something similar to that, with probably some expletive words in the language and some words of encouragement as well. So I think going forward, Qatar have looked good. It's just the defensive side of things which have caused them a number of problems, and I think is why they're having quite a lot of issues when they are playing against this Ecuador side. And I think I'm not sure whether it was Paul or JB who mentioned this in commentary, where they said, one of them said Qatar will have to be the whipping boys of this group, and I think with the back six, so to speak, when you include the goalkeeper, it looks like the forward players seem to have got an idea on how they want and how to do things. So if we just need to work on the defensive side of things and move forward and everything. And just before we continue this, Nick, I just want to say a big thanks to everyone who tuned into the World Cup preview yesterday, and a big thanks to everyone who took part in it as well. It was a fantastic thing to make for the channel, and hopefully everyone enjoyed that, and hopefully yourself, Paul and JB who were with us today enjoyed being a part of it as well. So I just want to say a big thanks to everyone for being involved in that as well, Nicholas. And I meant to say just before we start, at the start of the programme, I was just thinking about you. That's why I thought I'd just mention it when you come to me just now.
Yep, thank you. So we're just about. So we're still going through the. Still going through the halftime break. Enough time for me to plug the upcoming games on. To plug tomorrow's game, starting with England against Iran on at 1 o'clock with myself on comms, and Russ will be on commentary for Senegal against the Netherlands the Netherlands at 4 o'clock, and the other Group B match between the USA and Wales. Matt Cairns will be on commentary duty alongside Luke Turton. So quite a few games. So quite a few good games in prospect. But back to the here and now. Apart from Enna Valencia, who else would you say did really well for Ecuador?
Well, when I look at the Ecuador side, Nick, I'm just going to look at it again. Who started the game today? We know a couple of players. We know some of the players who play for Ecuador, who play in the Premier League. There's Estepinian of Brighton, Caicedo of Brighton. They've looked good. I've also been impressed with Mendes, Estrada up front as well. He's looked lively, and Platten from in midfield as well. And I think we need to get Ibarra on the ball a bit more, which I've not really seen much of him in that first half. So it'll be interesting to see how they try and get him into the game a bit more and try and cause a few more problems for the Qatari back line.
Yes, indeed, and with Ecuador being on so much of a roll, do you think they'll add more in the second half?
Yes, Nicholas, I think they do, mate. I think when you look at it, we've got some good players. We've got some good players on the bench as well. Some of the players that people will have heard of, and I think every time Ecuador go forward, you like scoring because of how bad the Qatari defence and goalkeeper have been in that first half, and they're looking to cause quite a few problems. I know we've got Paul back now, but just before we go on, before I ask Paul a question, we've got some comments in as well. Kevin Benson's been on. It says, I think it could be an average game compared to what we are used to. Trevor Sports has been on. Our good friend Trevor has been on. He says, the TCM Dream Team, JB and PJ, great jobs, lads. Just a shame it's a 4 game, must have an awful country. And that, he says, he's ruined the Premier League for him. And he's also said to us all, good luck with the World Cup this month. He says he'll tune in when he can in between work, etc. So thank you to Trevor and those who have tuned in so far today. If you're tuned in and like to leave a comment like Kev and Trevor has done, you can do so on our YouTube channels, Commentary Hub 2 and JB Sports, and also on our Twitch channel as well. You can get involved there as well. And also, if you want to get involved in tweeters, let us know your thoughts on that first game. You can do so as well at Commentary Live 1. The question that I've got for Paul is something which, similar to what you've just asked me, is as well, Nicholas. As well as, besides from Enna Valencia, Paul, who has impressed you in the Ecuador side? Because for me, I've said Estrada, Platten, Mendes, Caicedo, Estepinian, and I've said they need to get Ibarra on the ball a bit more. Would you agree with those picks, and would you agree with that statement about Ibarra as well, Paul?
Absolutely. I think collectively as a whole they've played very, very well as a team. But I think you're right in pointing out, singling out Estrada and Caicedo certainly. Ibarra, yes, it would be nice to see him get into the game a little bit more. Right now the entire team is currently dominating this game from start to finish. Like, it's not even a competition right now, in my opinion. I would say for Qatar, I think they need to, in the second half, they need to press a little bit more. for sure. At the moment, they seem very standoffish. I use the term deer in the headlights in the first half. I think it's very much like that. I think they need to try and press Ecuador in the second half and put them to the test a little bit.
Absolutely. I agree with that, Paul, as well, my friend. That's you, Nick.
Yeah, thoughts from Paul regarding the other best standout players for Ecuador besides Ana Valencia. Qatar, in my opinion, they have just been shown up. Don't mean to disrespect anybody, but they have just been shown up. There's no other words for it.
That is great, Nicholas. There's no words for it's either just come to this World Cup, like this is the first World Cup they've managed to get to, just because of us. And he's like, we're playing in the World Cup. We've got his fans behind us. We'll just go out there and perform well. If you call them, and if they're saying they're playing well out there, then there's another thing coming. And I think Qatar fans and the president of the Qatar FA as well maybe looking at this performance and could potentially say to the manager, if they don't win the next 2 games, which to be honest I don't think they will, they may have a chance against Senegal because there's no Sadio Mane for Senegal now. But say if we lose but if we don't win that game against Senegal, lose to the Netherlands, which everyone's expecting them to, then I think Qatar may end up sacking their manager come the end of this tournament, and I don't think we'll see Qatar in another World Cup for quite a while just yet, in my opinion, Nicholas.
Yes, I completely agree with you. You know, Yes, I completely agree with you. No one likes to see it. No one likes to see a team playing like a group of scruffy-looking schoolboys. That's another way to put it. So we should be just about coming up to the start of the second half, and you're listening to the Commentary Hub with me. With Nicholas Jones and Russ Thurman, JB Stothard and Paul James should by now be getting themselves ready for the start of the second half. Ready for the second half. Hope they're enjoying their tea, and you can also hear us on the Commentary Hub to Storm FM, JB Sports, and we're also on our Twitch channel. So Qatar will really need to turn things around. Although to be honest, I really don't see anything like that's happening. But now let's ask about Ecuador, how they're going to do in the group ahead. How do you think they're going to perform against Senegal and the Netherlands?
I think they're going to do well, Nicholas. You've seen today how well they can play as a team, and they're showing their qualities today. I think if we continue to play like this and Valencia manages to shake off his injury, I think we'll have a very good chance of progressing out of this group, especially after Senegal lost Sadio Mane. What news I can tell people from the monitor I've got in front of me, I've seen Valencia back out there for the second half, and I think the teams are about to come back out, Nicholas, as well. So I'll go with you for you to hand back over to Paul and JB.
Right, thank you. I actually just got the notification that the teams are out. That the teams are actually out onto the stadium. So without further ado, let's hand back over to Paul James and JB Stothard.
And thank you, Nicholas Jones, and welcome back. Just going to read out a few comments that happened in the first half on JB Sports. Do get in touch with us during the game if you want to add your opinions to the match and to the World Cup as a whole. Kevin Benson has said it could be an average game compared to what we've been used to. It has been a bit average, not so from the Ecuadorian point of view, but more from the Qatari point of view. They haven't really turned up really. Trevor Sports, our good friend, the TCL June team, JB and PJ, where's Duncan when you need him. Great job, lads. Just a shame it's a poor quality game and hosted by an awfully corrupt country, an equal corrupt governing body and through the Premier League for him. And there's a few. Ross said, "Hi Trev, mate. Good luck with the World Cup this month. I'll tune in when I can between work." So there's just a few of the comments that have been flying in on KB Sports pages. You can get in touch Please keep your comments clean. We still have a family programme, and please keep the messages on with the theme of football and the World Cup. And if you want to air your views on whether the tournament should be held in Qatar or not, that's entirely up to you, as long as you keep your comments clean and don't swear. We'll be delighted to hear from you. You know, we always like to involve audience participation, that is for sure. The news is that Valencia is fine. His goals on 16 and 31 minutes respectively, giving Ecuador the most comfortable 2-0 lead the World Cup side winning could ever have. And Paul, now the onus is on Qatar to really try and put on a good show second half. They're playing that 3-5-2. I don't think it suited him at all. It's still the same. It's still the same two teams of 11, so I don't have to go through the teams again. But really, Paul, they need to change something tactically if they're to get back into this game. Because quite frankly, they're 2 goals and a few sneakers down. Really, if you really put it like that, if you put it as bluntly as that.
Yeah, they need to start pressing in the second half. They need to start putting Ecuador to the test. Ecuador have had it too easy in the first half, so I think what Qatar need to do is they need to start pressing in the second half and put this Ecuador defence under a little bit of pressure and see what happens.
Well, let's just see what effect that Felix Mendes' half-time rant possibly has had on the Qatarians, because they need to really start performing. Here's Arif trying to get the ball forward, but he's lost possession. And it's worth noting for those casual listeners who are tuning into our coverage on any of the YouTube platforms or on Twitch, incidentally, and we say a big good evening to all our Twitch listeners as well on the TC Hub. There's Valencia now. We're deep inside, right on the edge of the area. Ball breaks again, but it's going to break to the goalkeeper, Al Shahid, who had no chance in any of the 2 goals. That went past him, the penalty. Well, 3 goals technically, because he didn't have much. Well, the goal that was disallowed was almost caused by his own making by a poor punch. But the other 2 that went past him, the 2 that did count, he had little or no hope of saving. But the problem now Qatar have got now, they've got to battle back. They've got to try and be. The other problem is they've been so shy and retiring as well. They play 3 at the back, they play 5 at the back, and it hasn't worked for them. But they've got to change it a little bit tactically. Maybe use the wing backs and maybe push them further forward and try and get some support to the likes of Arif and Ali, who, as I said at the start, have something like 68 goals between them in sort of like nearly 200 international between them. So there's goals further forward, but they just need more support, I think. And Qatar haven't really, certainly the wingmen really, the number 3 and the number 2, Hassan and Miguez, haven't really given them that support on the flanks. That's my feelings of it. Do you share those sentiments entirely? Do you think the responsibility is more on the wing players of Qatar to really give support now to the strikers, looking at the formation and everything else?
Yeah, I think seeing as though the only real chance that Qatar had in the first half came from that style of play, I think it might be worth going back to again defence under a little bit of pressure to try to create chances for themselves. 2-0's not out of the question. As you know, it's a funny lead, JB. So it's there's a chance for them, but it's an uphill battle. I think they're going to move on.
And also they need a little bit of luck and reliance on the Ecuadorians being very, very complacent, but they looked a very professional outfit. You can't criticise Ecuador in any way, because they don't pick obviously they don't pick the opposition. They've got to beat what's in front of them, but Ecuador's showing what they're all about, and they're on the attack again. And Valencia's well involved, but the header back was a good one. back to the goalkeeper there by Ahmed, and it really is. They have a responsibility now, being the host, Qatar, to really start to play a little bit and maybe just give themselves, win some respect around the world, really, because we can talk about the way that the tournament was won to host by them, and but the only way that this tournament can be a really legitimate World Cup is the hosts actually turn up and start playing a bit of football and don't disgrace themselves. At the moment, the first half, they could have been 5-0 down. There's no exaggeration of the truth, and that's very disappointing when you're looking for two teams to make a real game of it. And again, you can't really blame Ecuador. You've got to play and try and beat what's in front of you, and Ecuador are doing that to the letter. No problem with that. Qatarians, there's a responsibility on them now to really have a goal now second half. They have to.
Yeah, absolutely. The onus is on Qatar now to try to open Ecuador up and try to get themselves back into this game.
Well, they have to give it a good go here in the Al Bayt Stadium in Dhaka. And of course, 8 venues, 8 stadiums in this tournament. Anyway, here come Ecuador now, looking for this killer third. The ball knocked back towards the edge of the penalty area. They were trying to play the ball in towards Plata on the number 19 on the edge of the box. It made a nice little move down the left-hand channel, and in the end it came to nothing. And now the ball hooked clear. 5 minutes gone in the second half on all the TCF platforms, including JB Sports, TCF itself, TCF2 and Storm FM. And we're on the TCF Twitch channel, of course. If you're a Twitch subscriber, please subscribe to us on Twitch. And of course, if you want to look in between all the live matches that we're going to be bringing you from the 22nd World Cup taking place here in Qatar, the first ever Winter World Cup, if you want to hear all the World Cup news, views and interviews, our good friend Russ Burney will be keeping you up to date with all the latest news via the Twitter handle, and you can follow that at Commentary Live 1, incidentally. Commentary Live 1, you can follow us as well. So please follow us on Twitter if you can, and if you are listening to any of the participating YouTube channels as well, JB Sports, Storm FM, TCF, TCF2, whichever channel you're listening to this content from, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Shot comes in, it's over the top there for number 17, Ricardo, and a goal kick it is to Qatar. But if you are watching in any of the TCF participating YouTube channels, please subscribe and hit the notification bells, because the World Cup live matches will be coming thick and fast with various commentators, not just myself and Paul here for the next month. There's Nicholas, there's Russ, there's Chris, there's so many of them, and Mike as well, and so many different commentators that you're going to hear. Luke Turton will be amongst our coverage as a co-commentator. There's so many people looking to get into group games, and you'll hear a bit more of me as the tournament goes by, more towards the latter stages. But and of course we'll bring you the final, of course, in a month's time. 64 matches to be played over nearly 30 days. It's a festival of football. That's an offside there against Ali, and a free kick has been given to Ecuador. So please hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. We all need subscribing. In fact, on JB Sports, my own channel, we're only about 33 away from 1,000 subscribers. So if you are tuning into the JB Sports channel and listening to the content, do give my channel a subscribe, as the ball is lifted in rather to the penalty area, just behind the two strikers there, Estrada and Enner Valencia, and a goal kick it is to Qatar. But again, it's a different half, same story. Ecuador well on top at this moment in time, Paul, with almost 8 minutes gone in the second half.
Yeah, it's again, they've not been able to press forward, Qatar. They've not really been able to do anything at this time. It's really, Ecuador don't even need to be at top gear here. At the moment they are coasting through this game, and of course we don't blame them for that. Like you said, you only beat what's in front of you.
And there's an injury there to one of the Qatarians. It's Hissam who's in a little bit of discomfort there. There's the manager, Felix Sanchez. Of course, he's a Spanish-born manager, 47 years of age, born in Barcelona. Of course, some people can't use the tiki-taki thing. Of course, there's probably not enough world-class quality in the Qatarian side, but you thought in terms of team spirit, you'd think they'd give it a good go. They have to, at least, even if they don't win tonight and they play the second half, but at least, you know, if they did nick a goal back second half and they played well and worked hard to get that goal, then I think a lot of respect would be won back from them, because a lot of people are still giving Qatar the bird because of what happened in 2010 when they allegedly bought the tournament. So from FIFA, but we'll just have to wait and see. As I said in the first half, my personal preference would have been for Australia to have hosted it, because they had all the venues there for a start and the infrastructure and stuff. And I think they would have. Made a very good host of a World Cup with their reputation of putting on sporting events down in Australia, second to none. But here come Ecuador at the other end now. Shot comes in. That's a really good save. That's a really good save from Al Shahib, and that's the best we've seen from a Qatarian player. Their goalkeeper there coming up to the party. Here's Eder Valencia breaking. He's got support from Plata, and Valencia takes it out for a throw, but that's a fine save there. I think it was Estrada who got forward here, and in fact it wasn't. It was the number 10 here, Ibarra. It was Ibarra rather. Turned the Qatarian defence inside out. It's a terrific right-footed drive. Good out for the goalkeeper, maybe Al Shahib, but it's a really good save, and that's probably the most positive thing the Qatarian players done all afternoon.
Yeah, it was a good save. What I would say though, again, it was too easy to get inside that defence and get that shot away. But it was a wonderful save. I mean, it's kept Qatar in it, because at 2-0 they have a chance. At 3-0, I think the game's over at that point.
Mendes has just been booked for a foul on Arif. I don't think it's a yellow card. He's booked him for it. He's booked Mendes for it, but it's not a yellow card for me. I think Arif has sort of rolled about 18 times and has conned the referee into giving Mendes a yellow card. It's a foul, but no more, in my opinion, Paul. It's a free kick, but not a yellow card. I think there's been a little bit of Qatari play acting there.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like his boot has kind of just rolled down the side of his leg. Looking at the replay there, I don't know how painful that was, because players do that now, don't they? They take the hit and they roll around and they make the most of it. But it's I don't think it's any worse than anything else we've seen today, to be honest. I think it was maybe a bit harsh, because I think that's his first foul.
Yeah, and also Ali got up very, very quickly as well. 42% possession, 44 to Ecuador, but still Ecuador well on top in this game. In fact, that's more action areas. I'll never understand FIFA stats and facts. I think what we can say, if we say Ecuador are well in charge of this game, never mind what FIFA put in front of us in terms of stats and all that malarkey. They can pick out all these silly stats like goals, expectancy and stuff like that. It's all ridiculous. It's what's on the scoreboard that matters, and Ecuador are doing the right stuff in terms of the scoreline. Qatar 0, Ecuador 2. If you've just joined us on the TCR, both the goals coming in the first half, both from the same player, Eder Valencia, formerly of West Ham and Everton, of course. Penalty on 13 minutes. And then a terrific header from a crossing from the right after 31 minutes. They did also have the ball in the net a third time before the two legitimate goals, but it was chalked off for a slight offside decision when he nodded in from 3 yards. So essentially Ecuador have had the ball in the back of the net 3 times, but 2 have counted. There's another foul here, and Plata, this time the man fouled. And I have to say, I think that's more of a, well, if the last one was a booking, then surely that one there has to be a booking if you're going to keep with the consistency of it all. But there you go. It's just the referee has to referee it on his own merits. I have to say though, it's probably been a nervous occasion for the Italian ref in a lot of his senses, Paul, because it's his first ever World Cup finals match, and there was bound to be a bit of nervousness about it.
Yeah, with it being the opening game as well, all eyes are on him and are judging his performance. I try to have as much sympathy as I can with referees, but I find it's getting harder and harder now with VAR, and maybe VAR is working against the referees because it's exposing them in their decision making. And what's worse, a lot of the time they're getting the decisions wrong on VAR.
Yeah, but it's easy to be judged now on 15 different camera angles, though. That's the thing, and I'm not trying to defend referees in that stage, but they've only got one shot at it, and we've got the benefit of like 25 different camera angles on monitors to watch it from. And it's very easy to sit there and criticise, but some referees make easy mistakes, some make genuine mistakes, and that's just how it is in World Cup football sometimes. But then FIFA don't help the situation by telling referees to clamp down on this and clamp down on that. Anyway, Qatar looking to bungle their way forward, but they can't. We're coming up to an hour gone then on all the TCF platforms. Paul's got to choose the man of the match around about the 88th minute mark. I'm sure he's got a few Ecuadorian candidates in mind. That is for sure, but I'm not sure there's any candidates you could say from Qatar at this point, unless one or two of them start turning in really world-class performances in the next half an hour. There's an injury here for Ricardo Brighton as well. He's down injured, and there's going to be some substitutions lined up. Now, the reason why I didn't go through the substitutes like I normally do for league games is effectively that the rest of the 25-man squads, or the 26-man squads, all of them are substitutes. So that outside the 211s that are taking part in the game or start the game, all the squad members are all effectively substitutes, and that is so that's why I've not run through the substitutes. There's just too many, frankly, to go by. But there could be a substitution here lined up. We've had an hour, Paul, and it's fair to say, in a lot of respects, that this has been a bit of a training ground exercise for the Ecuadorians, essentially.
Yeah, it has been. It has not been much going on from Qatar. Ecuador, I think their next match is against Holland, so they're going to get a much sterner test there. But I think Ecuador can be very happy with the way they've played. They've done everything that they needed to do. They've been in control of the game. They look very composed. They don't look threatened in any way. I mean, of course, you'll get hypercritics who'll say, well, they've got Holland next, we'll see the real Ecuador. But like I said, you can only beat what's in front of you.
Absolutely. As Qatar going for, wow, that was the best we've seen from Qatar. A header coming in from about 9-10 yards out, just to the right of the penalty spot. Not sure who got the final touch, but it was a decent header. Goalkeeper, I think, had it covered, but a little ray of light potentially there for Qatar as the header from, who was it? It was number 2, Miguez, who has looked a little bit lively down the right-hand side, I must admit. Probably there's more shining light. And in just wide of the target, but as I said, goalkeeper had it covered. But a little bit of positivity there for Qatar to cling to there.
It's something. It's something. At least they're getting the ball into the box. At least they're creating a chance. Because they haven't done that throughout the entire game, apart from that one chance at the end of the first half. So it's positive by Qatar.
It has to be known. They need more of that in the next sort of 28 minutes so that remain in this opening game. First of 64 in this tournament. The last World Cup finals now to contain 32 participants. Of course, in 2026, in 4 years' time, FIFA are going ahead with plans to increase the tournament to 48, which is another one of their controversial schemes. Again, it's just to rake in the money and everything else, and player welfare has always been pushed to one side in these circumstances, and that's wrong for so many reasons. Offside given, and a free kick has been given to Ecuador. One of the Qatar players, I think it was Arif, was tagged offside. Free kick now with 63 minutes on the clock here. Don't forget, there's more World Cup action coming your way tomorrow. England begin their World Cup campaign against Iran at 1 o'clock. That's 1 o'clock kickoff UK time. And you'll be able to hear that with Nicholas Jones. Nicholas Jones will be commentating on that one for you. And then later on, and then after that, the Netherlands in action in the other game in Group A. You can hear that with us as well against Senegal, without, of course, Sadio Mane. That's coming up afterwards. And then at 7 o'clock UK time, it's Wales take on the US. A big game for Robert Page's men as they got to get off to a positive start against the Americans, who will no doubt cause one or two problems in terms of in terms of that group as well. So you'll be able to hear all that, all 3 matches, all covered for you tomorrow on all the TCM platforms, including Storm FM, JB Sports, and TCM2, and of course the TCM Chip Channel. All matches will be on there. And of course, if there's any FA Cup games that are being commentated on by us, they'll all be shown, they'll all be listened, they all will come live only on TCM2. So if there's any, because there was a couple of FA Cup games in a couple of weeks' time as well at the end of November that we'll be focusing on. But any commentaries of those will be restricted to just TCM2, folks. So just to remind you of that. At least the Qatarians are trying to whip up a bit of an atmosphere now, which is one of the considered the 11 out there. Still no substitutes used by either side. We've had 65 minutes gone. And
I'm surprised, JB, that they haven't used any yet, Qatar.
They've got some. Well, we don't know the quality or how good these substitutes actually are. They are. Of course, we cover top flight football in England every other week, and we don't know how. So Qatar really, in some respects, is a bit of an unknown quantity. But having said all that, they haven't really. I mean, we've seen them today for 65 minutes. They have been nothing short of pathetic, feeble, and downright disgraceful, really, in terms of the way they're playing the game. But they need a little bit more improvement. The next 25 minutes will give us a few more clues, I suspect. Anyway, here they are on the ball now. We need to get forward. Going sideways though with Hassan. And now the ball now. Number 6 here, Hatem, gets the ball forward now. Arif has to touch it back. Now number 12 has it. Boudaf gets it forward. A little slip there, but they're starting to put one or two things together. Boudaf has it again. Again, going sideways rather than forwards. But they're looking to be patient and looking to be a bit more daring. They must get forward here. Try and be a bit more daring. They look a bit of a suspicious offside there, but the play carries on. Qatar having on the right-hand channel. Look to get the cross into the penalty area. At least Miguez is trying to do something about it, but he can't do it that time. The ball has drifted out of play, and we're going to see Cemento going to come on. Samiento going to come on now for Ecuador. So we are going to see that first change, and it's probably going to be around about the 67th minute mark, I would guess, when that particular substitution is actually made. As the ball now is hoisted forward once again, but the ball's been lost once more. And again, free kick this time to Ecuador. Looked a bit of a soft challenge, and Ecuador wanted to get on with it there, but Sarmiento is about to come on now. Fourth official there, Mr. Kovacs. To hold up the ball for the first time this afternoon, or this evening rather. We're now way past 5:30 in the UK. Which is still quite warm here in Qatar this evening. 67 minutes gone and then on all the TCL platforms. And Ibarra is going to come off the number 10. And he will be replaced, as I said, with number 15, Cemento.
A little bit surprised at that, JB.
Why's that?
Well, he brought himself into the game in the second half a little bit. And I thought he was, just starting to come into his own a little bit. I'm quite surprised to see him go. I mean, obviously at 2-0, I suppose you want to be pragmatic with the players that you put on the field. You want your best team fit for the next game, certainly.
Especially if it's up against the Dutch, of course, as well. They're going to be no mugs, that's for sure. Qatar have been found out to be a bit of a mug in this competition thus far. Then I have to say that the Netherlands will definitely hold Holland, to give him their former name. There'll be definitely no mugs. When you look at the tradition of how they played the game as well, Cruyff and Hullet and Van Basten and all them people down the years, Bergkamp, of course, Davids, Kluivert. We haven't really seen real Dutch player come to the surface for a few years since those heady days. Ball played along, and at least Ecuador have turned up and played quite a bit of football here today. Here's number 3 on the ball now, Hassan, trying to bring the ball away. Little dummy there by Arif, but he didn't come to much there. He's trying to make one or two things happen, Arif. and he's having to feed on practically scraps at the moment. As Valencia now has it, the captain of Ecuador, who scored a brace this evening, and he looks to pick up number 19, and he's got it now. Platter, has he got a couple of Qatarians on a platter there? Not to put a pun on it, but it's knocked away once more. And we're chasing this one, but again knocked away. Qatar having a little bit more of the ball. It's just what you do with it that counts, and they haven't done much with it for 69 minutes. Maybe they'll do something now. Number 14's got it now. Ahmed goes inside again. Number 12 has got it this time, and this is Boudef. And no foul there, and play on, says the referee. And here comes Cemento now with his first touch. We've got almost 20 minutes plus stoppage time to play. A third Ecuadorian goal will kill it off. That's a definite push, and a definite foul there on Caicedo, and a free kick it is, and it was Alheidos who was fouled there. We're going to see number 4 now, Wad, and number 9, Montari. Not Sully Montari, but another Montari as Qatar now prepare a substitution. So I'm betting Montari is sort of a striker, so to speak. But there you go. So we've got 20 minutes to play. Ecuador have a free kick. They're 2 goals in the clear. Third one could well kill it. The ball played in towards the back post, and looked a foul there by Torres. And what's the referee giving here? No, he's not giving anything. Did look a foul there by Torres, but the referee's let it go. And we're going to see a double substitution from Qatar. So Al-Aidos is coming off. He's going to give that to the captain now, Al-Shaib. So Al-Aidos is gone. He's going off by the side there. So Hassan Al-Aidos, he's been quite frankly poor. So Mohamed Wad comes on, number 4. That's W-A-A-D. Montari on as well. I'm not sure who he's replaced. It hasn't been confirmed on our screen. But he's now on as the throw comes in. We'll get confirmation from FIFA as soon as we have got it. And the ball now played back once more, and Ecuador looking in comfortable control. I'm assuming it's neither Arif or Howie because it's an attacking substitution. We haven't got still haven't had any idea who Montari's actually replaced, because I haven't seen any captions from FIFA, anything at all.
I can try and get that for you, JB. It looks like Ali Almeos has gone and Al Hayodis has gone. And coming on
we know about Al-Aidos. We knew about that.
Okay, well, coming on is Montari and Wade, number 4.
Yeah. Well, we got the first substitution, okay, which is the second one that we're more concerned about. But meanwhile, Ecuador, while we were debating that, they've got a free kick with 18 minutes left to play. A third one here would put any issue beyond possible doubt here at this point. Estrada's forward, Inca Pierce forward. Ana Valencia, you can bet your bottom dollars in there too. It's a free kick on the left-hand side. It's floated into the penalty area. It's well defended. I think it was Montari, the substitute, that got back there. The big number 9 that got back there and defended it well for Qatar. 18 minutes for them to score a couple of goals and to save themselves at least a point from today. There we go. Ali's the man gone off, number 19. We've got the substitution. We've sorted it all out. Come on, FIFA, get your brain into gear. First game of the World Cup, and you're not confirming substitutions. Get on with it.
It's annoying when that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, FIFA in it for you. We know what FIFA are. Sweet FA. Anyway, onward again now. We've got about 17 minutes, less than that possibly left to play. It's JB, John Stuttard, alongside PJ, Paul James in the commentary box for the TCL on opening day, and opening night rather, of the World Cup. A decent, not spectacular opening ceremony. The tournament mascot looked like Casper the Friendly Ghostman, of course, that animated film of a few years ago. It looked that for a mascot when we've seen some great mascots from Italia 90 to Footix from France 98 and great mascots like that, but this was probably the worst mascot in World Cup history. Even World Cup Willie was better than that. I think that was way back in 1966. But unfortunately, Qatar have failed to sparkle on opening night thus far. But can they produce something to remember by in the next quarter of an hour and try and make a fight of this and really push the Ecuadorians not to breaking point, but that's a decent ball. There's just no one gambling in the middle. But now then, they've got a chance here with the number 14 Ahmed. Can he get the ball into the penalty area? He plays it back to Arif. Arif hits it, but he hits it far too high with the right foot. And I have to say, in a lot of respects, that effort from Arif, in a nutshell, sums up Qatar's evening in that one moment there. Got well underneath it, and it was rising all the time.
Yeah, it was a poor effort, that, wasn't it? Just gets his foot underneath it and blazes it. This has been the way it's been though for Qatar in this game. They've looked all at 6s and 7s. They haven't really created much, and they've been well and truly. I don't see any way back for them in this game the way they're playing.
Well, it doesn't look as if Enner Valencia is going to finish this game, I'm afraid, because he's broken down again inside the centre circle. He's up on his feet. The two physiotherapists are out on the field there, and I think with the time that he's left in the game, and considering that Ecuador have got a 2-goal lead, which Qatar don't look as if they're going to reduce the arrears at all this evening, I think it's probably a good idea at this point, even if he's carrying a knock, just to take him off at this stage and save him maybe for the Dutch game, and then maybe for the Senegalese, or maybe even going farther than that, the Senegalese game. It's a great performance from Enner Valencia. He's done really well. Was denied a hat-trick at the start, of course. Well, he had the ball in the back of the net 3 times, so he didn't get the match ball because the first one that he did put in was, well, chalked up as Chiventis now comes on to replace him. He wears number 5, and so I think that's a wise substitution in terms of how much time we've got left in the game. We've got less than a quarter of an hour to play, and the fact that Ecuador in a very, very comfortable 2-goal lead. Yeah,
they're in a comfortable situation now. They can take Valencia off at this stage, rest him for the next game. They don't want to risk any injuries or anything like that, so it's a smart decision. And let's face it, they're just not looking in this game at Qatar. I honestly can say that I think Qatar probably play till midnight and still not score.
Yeah, they could play about until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon when England kick off and still not score. That's it. And I don't mean to be harsh and I don't mean to be blunt, but I'm calling it as I see it. And there's another yellow card going to be brandished to I think a Qatar in here. It's Arif, number 11. Frustration. There's a lot of frustration there, understandably so. They haven't done themselves justice, it's obvious. Plata was the man fouled. He's taken him out quite clearly. It was a naughty challenge, and fully deserving of a yellow card. And he's, unfortunately, from Arif's point of view, he's actually been one of the few players who have actually tried to play the game. Shares the same first name as a certain Pakistani fast bowler, Wasim Akram, funnily enough.
Oh, I remember him. I saw him play for Lancashire. Oh my goodness me!
So many trophies he won in the 90s with Lancashire was unbelievable. I mean, the amount of Nat West we won in those days was unbelievable. But he's no Wasim Akram. He's unfortunately, it was a sort of a fast bowlers type challenge, that one. But he's got a yellow card for it. There's no doubt about it. But my worry is now from the discipline side of it. If they commit any more of these Qatari players, I mean, if any of those on yellow cards, and there's at least 4 or 5 of them now on bookable offences, on caution cards, Paul, if any one of those makes another rash challenge, that's it, they're off the field and missing the next game automatically.
Yeah, that's it. And they've got a couple of key players that have been booked as well. So it goes into effect, of course, if they get booked in the next game, then they miss the last game, which of course right now will be whether or not they're going to get through.
Well, they could have a third here. Oh, it's over the top. It's over the top there from Someto. The ball, it was offside in any case. The ball would be played over the top, but the flag had gone up in any way, shape, or form. There's he looks trouble, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. But that's just it's a bad miss from Samito. Really, he should keep that down. Really, but. Yeah, maybe the linesman's twice got him out of jail there a little bit, Paul. Should have been 3, really, but obviously the offside flag would have intervened regardless.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't know it was offside either. You could tell by his reaction. He blazed it over the crossbar. You've got to do better from that, but he'll look at that as a missed opportunity. Hopefully he'll learn from that.
Well, there you are. That's just you like to think so, but to be fair, Ecuador have been good value, even if it has just been the 2, and you can't get away. There's no denying that right now. But it's been a very good professional performance, shall we say, from the Ecuadorians against a team that was supposed to be the so-called whipping boys. But it's been an amazing performance. They've done really well. Ecuador, as me and Paul have said time and time again this afternoon, it's the ball play through. That's going to be the goalkeeper's surely, and there it is. And I have to say it's been there. And Qatar now. This was probably with respect to them, they were. This was going to be their best opportunity to try and get some crucial points, and I just feel they've really missed an opportunity or missed a trick to try and put the Ecuadorians under pressure, as though their goalkeeper's taken a bit of a battery from Plata, whose momentum more than anything else took him into him. So no malice on Plata's part. 10 minutes to go then. Qatar 0, Ecuador 2.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is, JB. I think that they've made it almost impossible for themselves to qualify now. They have to get something out of the Dutch. 3 points won't be enough in this group to qualify, I don't think. Excuse me, I would say at least they need a point. So that would mean beating Senegal, which, although they don't have Sadio Mane, they still have quality in that team. It's going to be very difficult, and then getting a point off the Dutch, well, that'd be quite some shot, wouldn't it? Really.
Yeah, well, I think they need 3 against the. You'd have to look at 3 against the Netherlands, considering that as they wind up another long throw here, Ecuador ball comes out again. The third one would also help the goal difference, and the goal difference doesn't help with a -2 goal difference, because it obviously if you tie with second place, I mean even if they got 4 points, it still wouldn't guarantee them passage and through to the next round of the thing. There's another off the ball incident here. The referee spotted. He's had an eventful game, Mr. Orizaro from Italy. Down goes number 20, Mendes. Number 4 involved there for Wad involved, and he's pushed his base there. I have to say, he's very lucky not to have seen at least a yellow, if not red, for that. I know Mendes has made a little bit of a meal of it, but you can't afford to do that at that level and give away silly free kicks like that, because you're going to run the risk of giving away red cards at a premium. He shouldn't have held his hand to his face.
Reckless thing to do, absolutely reckless, JB. Again, that's been the way it's been all afternoon with the discipline, hasn't it? I think, as you say, Mendes made a meal of it, but I think at the same time, whenever you do that, you are putting yourself in that risk category of getting a red card, and that's a pretty sloppy and bad thing to do. He didn't need to do it at all.
To be fair, though, the Qatarians have excuse me, the Qatarians have been very ill-disciplined in the way that they've gone about. And I remember David Coleman. Well, I don't remember David Coleman, but I heard David Coleman once in the '62 World Cup when Chile played Italy. The Chileans came to play football, and the Italians used force. Well, it's been a little bit the same here today. The Ecuadorians have come to play football, and Qatar have only used force, and unfortunately that cannot be good for the World Cup when you've got one team trying to play the game of football and you've got Qatar here who have been fouling and hurting, have been fouling very recklessly, and it's no surprise when you've got anything up to 5 or 6 yellow cards for one team. It tells its own story.
Yeah, it does. But there isn't. I mean, I think a lot of it may be down to temperament. They know that they've been outplayed today. They know that they've been outplayed on every level. So I think a lot of this is just lashing out, really. They know that they've not been able to do anything with it.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, that's the $64,000 question at this stage of proceedings. It has been a disappointing game, and we expected both teams to go at it hammer and tongs. I thought there might be a few meaty challenges in at the start, but I didn't expect there'd be so many in what we're seeing. Because the World Cup is supposed to be the greatest show on footballing show on earth, and it has been quite frankly disappointing, Paul.
Yeah, it has been today. It's been very one-sided, and hopefully the games will improve over time, and we'll see some much better games. Hopefully we'll see some good games tomorrow. England and Iran, I'm hoping that just won't be one way. Wales and the USA, another interesting sort of game. So let's onwards and upwards. I'm hoping that I'm going to try and be as positive as I can and say that the games are going to get better.
Well, I was going to just break off for a moment, but the ball was going well out of play as Estrada tried to reach it, but it wasn't to be. So 5 minutes for stoppage time to play on the TC of everybody. If you heard background noise in my studio, I do apologise. Live alternate commentary. Paul's going to get his thinking cap on in a second or two. I don't think there'll be much thinking to be done because I think I might have a fair idea who his player of the match will be. As Qatar go away for the Super One, and Montari with a super speculative effort from just to the left of the box, or just to the right rather of the box, just goes fractionally over, and that's the first time in the game, and we've played nearly 86 minutes, Paul, where actually Qatar have actually looked a bit of a threat. Montari with a good half-volleyed shot that just goes over the top of the bar.
Yeah, best moment of the match for them, that. It was unlucky. It was an excellent effort, and it looked like it was dipping, but it just wasn't dipping quick enough. But yeah, best moment of the match for Qatar, that.
And the only real bright spot, and there was that chance at the end of the first half as well. But it has been that sort of evening really for Qatar. It just hasn't come off for them, and well, they're going to get back on that training ground. PDQ. One must admit that now. Let's just check a few of your comments. Unfortunately, we've had, as the ball's hooked up in the air, unfortunately we've had one or two people hidden by one of our. Unfortunately, that's disappointing to see. But please comment if you do have an opinion. But as I say, keep your comments nice and clean. And we're still our family program. Anyway, we've got about 3 minutes to go plus injury time. I'm going to ask Paul in about 30 seconds from now about his player in the match. In fact, but we'll ask him now. Paul, who's going to be your player in the match? Sponsored, of course, by Commentary Services.
Enna Valencia.
I knew you'd say that.
Well, he's been outstanding, hasn't he? He's been a threat from beginning to end. Very unlucky not to get 3 goals. He was denied that by VAR. I mean, I'd like to mention Estrada as well, who's also played very well. Casado was honourable mentions as well, but I think the man of the match belongs to Valencia today.
Yes, Enna Valencia, our player in the match, sponsored by Commentary Services, and I think a justified winner of our supplementary award, as the corner has been given to Ecuador because the goalkeeper couldn't keep that in play. It was a cross that came in that was deflected from the right-hand side. And here's Plata, who takes the corners. He's going to take another one from the right-hand side now. As Ecuador look for the icing on the cherry on the cake, if you like. So let's see if we can try and finish this off now with a third goal. 2 minutes to play. Enna Valencia is our player in the match, as I say, sponsored by Commentary Services, and a very obvious and good choice from our co-commentator today, Paul. And let's just see what happens now as Plata knocks the ball into towards the near post. It's headed away by the Qatarians. It'll be another throw for Ecuador. So we've got about 2 minutes plus injury time to play. I can't see it being too much in the way of stoppage time as opposed to the first, because we've only had a sprinkling of substitutions. I think we only had about 5 substitutions in the entire game. And we haven't had too much in the way of real massive stoppages. So I would say probably about 2 or 3 minutes at a guess. but don't quote me on that. And anyway, number 17 is going to take the throw here for them. Ricardo. And here's Platter. Here's Platter again. And he goes down. Referee says that's fine. Here come Qatar now. 1 minute plus injury time to go. Qatar trying to make inroads. They've got a throw in almost short of halfway. So they've done fairly well. There's going to be a couple more changes now. 11. And he's going off. So Estrada's going up, and 26 Rodriguez is going to come on. And number 21 Franco is also going to come on at this point. Estrada now handing the captain's armband to number 7 there, which is Purvis Esteban of Brighton. And he's taking a little alternative. Referee from Italy making sure that making it clear that he will be adding time on. So Caicedo and Estrada are both coming off. And these have been confirmed. Well done, FIFA. You must have listened to me. Both Franco and Rodriguez both coming on now as we go into the final 5 seconds of normal time. And our 4th official, Esteban Kovac, will give us some indication. We're now into injury time. 5 added minutes.
I'm not sure where that comes from, really, for the second half.
I would have said 2 or 3 at that point, but 5 added minutes. It's a bit of a questionable one, but not normally, though, in league football, we turn our nose up at that if there wasn't that much in the way of stoppage time. Can't remember too much in the way of time wasting.
No, there's been a couple of players go down, but I think 5 minutes is a little excessive.
Probably 3 would have been fair enough, but 5? Oh, dear me. I mean, that's, mind you, if we were Burnley fans, we'd be playing for 5 minutes. I mean, I think the other week when we played Rotherham, I think we were playing for 10 minutes, weren't we?
Yeah.
We got it. So, and we got it, so, at the end of the day, beggars can't be choosers. But anyway, back to the game, and it's Qatar on the attack now with number 6, Hatim, who's been, frankly, he's not impressed me at all, but he's impressing me with one of these 1-2s. Really, it's been a professional performance from Ecuador. We've got now to get a third. We've had 1 of the 5 minutes played in the stoppage time. And to be quite honest, I'd have just given 3 and just put Qatar out in their misery, because that's how it has been all evening, really, from their point of view. It's been a night of frustration, and they know they were capable with all those caps on between them and all these goals they've had. But mind you, they play on a continent which isn't, with respect, is not well renowned, and you look at the Asian Cup they won. I mean, it's not going to be opposition of this ilk every single. It wasn't against opposition of this ilk. That's the thing, and they will have to learn fast, and will have to watch the rerun of this game. And I'm sure their manager will have them in their training headquarters in a room, and will put them through the agony of this 90 minutes has just gone again. Because they need to watch the video, and he'll have to point out 1 or 2 things tactically, because let's face it hasn't been good enough, and they have to learn lessons, and they know they'll have to be a lot more coy against a much statistically better Dutch side, and that's no disrespect to the Ecuadorians, but you'd have to say the Dutch are clear favourites to top the group, but on paper. The free kick has been given to Qatar, foul there by one of the Ecuadorians, free kick to them. We've had 2.5 of the 5 gone.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think absolutely the Dutch are going to win the group. I can't see any way around that. But I have to say, I had Senegal to qualify from Group A along with Holland. I may change my mind. I know Qatar have been bad, but I think Ecuador have played very, very well. I think they've looked very professional. They've looked well in control all the way through, and they might cause Senegal some problems.
Especially if Mane isn't fit enough to start the game, of course. There's still fitness issues around him, of course. And of course, the news yesterday, tragic news for the tournament and for French football in particular, that Karim Benzema has now been rolled out the tournament. And the fact is, they can't replace him either now, which is another disappointment. But the pressure now will be on the likes of Griezmann and Mbappe going forward. And I think the French were amongst the front runners to retain the trophy. I had them down as potential finalists in the previous show. I've got to have to stick by what I've said now, but There you go. That's Ecuador now in their 4th World Cup. Remember, they reached the last 16 back in 2006 in Germany. They have qualified as well in 2002 and 2014, so this is their first World Cup for some 8 years. They win another corner here. They failed to qualify for the last World Cup in Russia. So can they finish with a flourish? There's a few empty seats now in the stadium. One or two of the Qatarian supporters have given up the fight now, as we're now into the final minute of the 5, at the end of what's been a chastening evening for Qatarian football. It was supposed to be their red letter day, hosting the World Cup, but it's turning out to be a really damp squid. But Ecuador have been good value for their victory. Very professional, very workmanlike, and you have to say, even though this corner didn't come to much, there was a header one inside the penalty area, but it went wide. It has been one-way traffic, and I think when you sum up the game, Paul, I think that's the way it has been from a dispassionate view of things, as the ball's not forward. Now there's a real chance for Arif, but they won a corner here. Just hold that thought, Paul, because we've got a Qatar corner here. Can they at least get on the scoreboard now? They've lost the game. I don't think there's any question about it. But how about a bit of pride? Bring back a bit of pride. Can Arif put in a very good corner and see what Qatar can do? In comes the corner from Arif. It's not a good corner. It's disappointing. The whistle has gone anyway, and Ecuador get the 3 points. And it was a very professional performance as the two managers shake your hands. That's Felix Sanchez and Gustavo Iparo. So summing up, Paul, really, your final thoughts really on what was a game really that was littered with just one-way traffic, and Enner Valencia, a deserved man in a match win.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of them. It was one of them, wasn't it? I mean, Qatar couldn't lay a glove on Ecuador all the way through the game. No shots on goal. They had a couple of shots attempts on goal, but none of them actually on target. All in all, it was Qatar will look at this and say that they've got work to do. Ecuador looked very, very solid from beginning to end. They looked professional. They looked well prepared for this game, and they'll take a lot of confidence from this game, even though going into the next game is against the Dutch. If they can keep the score down, maybe even salvage a point, which would be asking a lot, but you never know. If they can salvage a point, then they're almost there then, aren't they? They're almost in the second round.
Yeah, that's true. And there's the table. Ecuador have played, obviously they've got that +2 goal difference, 3 points to them. The Netherlands and Senegal, they kick off at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and you can hear that game live with us on the commentary hub and all the participating channels. Don't forget, England are around at 1 o'clock tomorrow with Nicholas Jones, and then at 7 o'clock we've got Wales, first match of the tournament against the US. But here in Qatar this afternoon, I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been frankly one-way traffic, and it's been very disappointing from a match point of view. Qatar never really got into it at all, which was bitterly disappointing from a neutral point of view. But fair play to Ecuador. They had the ball in the net 3 times. One was disallowed for Enner Valencia, but he did go on to get a brace, and he was definitely the player of the match. And that's the way it finished. Qatar 0, Ecuador 2. Let's hope there's better games than this one, with another 63 that remain. Final score here as we hand back to Nicholas and Russ. Qatar 0, Ecuador 2.
Thank you, JB. So not quite the opening we would have wanted. Very much a downer, as one might say, and Ross Vernon, once Ecuador got into their stride, things really did start to fizzle out on the pitch.
Absolutely, Nicholas. Ecuador were just absolutely fantastic from start to finish. Once they got into the stride, I think that early goal, which got disallowed, I think that kicked Ecuador on, and it was like, ooh, we need to prove that we can score goals without VAR getting involved, and they did that. And Valencia should have had an hat-trick. But then again, when I've seen another picture of that offside goal, that first one which got ruled out, that disallowed goal for Ecuador, I can see why it was ruled out. It was the correct decision in the end. Having seen another picture from it, I think Ecuador played absolutely fantastic performance from them, and I think they deserve to go after the winners. As rightly pointed out by JB and Paul, Qatar were woeful today. They need to sharpen up if they are to get anything from the tournament, and especially when they play against the Netherlands on Friday, which is their next game. And I think where they perform today, I can see the Netherlands putting more than 2 past them. I think come Friday, Qatar could be out of the competition, and maybe Ecuador and Holland, depending if Holland beat Senegal tomorrow and Ecuador win on Friday against Senegal, those 2 teams could have could go into the final group game, just playing to see who finishes top and who finishes second.
I have a feeling you could be right there. So all that hype for Qatar, and yes, it all comes to nothing.
Absolutely, Nicholas. I think you could be right there. Qatar be wanting to get a win in their next game to try and give them a chance, but who knows what will happen. But I think the Netherlands, with the squad that they've chosen, could end up proving to be too strong for Qatar when they meet them on Friday, depending how they go against Senegal tomorrow afternoon, which you can hear with myself providing the commentary for that one.
Right, thank you. Right, thank you, Ross. So we're just about out of time. So besides the Netherlands, besides Senegal against the Netherlands, we've also got it's also the first appearance of the home nations tomorrow, starting with England against Iran at 1 o'clock. I will be on commentary for that one, and Wales face the United States. Join Matt Cairns and Luke Turton at 7 o'clock tomorrow for that one too. So my thanks to Paul and JB for the commentary, and also thanks to Russ for giving us his insights. All the razzmatazz and hype for Qatar, and it all just fell flat for them. Let's just hope we don't have any more. Let's just hope we don't have any more like that throughout the remainder of the tournament. Until tomorrow, good night.